In 2006, my husband and I, we ended up homeless. We had this piece of property out here in Lucerne, so we moved on to that with our motorhome. And then code enforcement officer, Sherry Road Truck, showed up at our doors. She told us that we couldn't live where we were living because we didn't have any permits.
Regarding Sandy's case, the county has codes established and zoning requirements that would prohibit recreational vehicles being used as a residence. The reason why is because we often encounter issues like hazardous utility connections, improper waste disposal, and insufficient protection against the weather. These conditions can be dangerous for all involved.
We were actually escorted off our property. The lifestyle I was living wasn't very conducive to family, and I decided I needed to do something different. So that's actually started steps towards me changing my entire lifestyle.
Our officers are trained to establish a dialogue with the people involved. Through these conversations, we can gain a better understanding of their circumstances. This allows us to ensure people don't feel trapped or stuck in their circumstance. By connecting them with the right resources, we help them take steps towards a safer and more stable living situation.
2008, we got our house. I remember the first time I saw the two halves on the property and I started to cry. It was actually my very first home ever, and it's still our home today. I told the code enforcement officer, Sherry, I haven't had a single drink since. And I reached into my pocket and pulled out a sobriety chip to show her. She just set us on the path we're on today. I ended up going back to school. I got my GED and my associate's and bachelor's degrees. In 2022, I got a job with our county library, Lucerne Valley Branch Library. I have a life today thanks to code enforcement. Bless their hearts.
If you find yourself in a situation such as Sandy's, please contact our office. Our staff is here to help answer any question you have and get you on the right path. We're here to work with you.
Working with Children and Family Services, we met the most amazing people who were so supportive of not only our sweet Nora, but our entire family and our biological children as well. Our adoption story started way back in 2016. We were on a vacation in a third world country. God immediately began stirring in my heart this desire to adopt a child. My husband, Brett, definitely wasn't on the same page, at least not immediately.
One of the main aspects of fostering that we were concerned about was how is this going to impact our own children? What we found out is that our kids grew so much, not only in their faith, but they grew in learning about the family dynamic. And I think it's going to help them when they become fathers and husbands.
We received a call for a little girl who was 3 days old. She was ready to be discharged from a local hospital and needed a place. I immediately said yes to that call without even calling Brett and asking. We quickly learned that her plan and the goal set forth for her through the social workers and CFS was to reunify with her family. We parented her for 17 long, wonderful, beautiful months. We did every doctor appointment, visit, therapy session, assessment, everything we did with her biological parents, being on the side of reunification and being able to be the hands and feet of God here on earth and helping a family who was struggling get back on their feet and provide them the support in raising their child when they couldn't do it themselves turned out to be our highest honor. A few months later, we received a call from our foster family agency about a little baby who was just 2 days old and specifically wanted a placement in our town because she had 2 biological brothers that were placed in a foster family close by. Again, I immediately said yes without asking Brett, and we quickly learned that reunification efforts would likely not be met, and that she would be a child who would be placed for adoption. Hearing that as a foster parent who had just had the glorious deed of helping reunify a family, knowing that this was likely not going to be that same happy ending. So we were mixed emotions, sad for a family who was breaking, but also very hopeful that maybe this is where God called us back in 2016. Maybe this was all for her and this is where we were supposed to be.
Community and friends really helped our family through our process through foster and adoption. We love these girls with all of our hearts, just like our biological children, because that's what every single one of these kids in either foster care or adoption needs. They need someone, they need a family, a warm, loving family, each and every day.
The support we received from Children and Family Services made everything okay. They provided us resources, offered different classes, or just picked up the phone and called us and said, like, how's everything going?
Taking the initial step is sometimes the hardest for people to do. Whether it's in your faith, whether it's actually talking to someone in Children and Family Services, it's that initial step, and I think more people that do that, these kids will have amazing homes.
If you have love to give to a child, even if you are afraid that you are going to break when they leave, you are the right person to sign up for foster care, because the system needs people who love children. And if you can love children well, then you will be a fantastic foster parent. And that is what I tell people all of the time. As long as you can love children well, this is a job for you, or this is a calling for you.
We're at Paris Hill Park here in San Bernardino, and we're here to assess all of the individuals that are staying here and to try to connect them to resources with the ultimate goal to house everyone.
The number of homeless that were here has increased significantly since I first started here with San Bernardino County. So the city has been working and speaking with us about how do we make those next steps. There's a lot of seniors here. There's families here that I found today with kids. So we're trying to make those connections to get those individuals out right now.
We moved to Washington State.
And during the time that we were there, we got on Section 8. We lived out there for about 5 years, and then we wanted to come back home.
But I had to tell them, hey, it's going to be a process because we have to transition from state to state.
During the time that we sent for the transfer for our Section 8 to come back over here, it took like almost 6 months.
It's been a minute, you know what I'm saying? They said that they were going to put me up in a room and help me out as long as I'm willing to, you know, figure out my situation.
We don't really have a lot of family or nothing like that. And this is where we were in the meantime. This is not where we want to be, but we had to go through this transition.
They have a plan in place. They were able to, show that. And so with the city motel voucher program for the interim, we're able to put them there while they wait for their permanent housing to be in place.
I have a home now, so that's the good thing about it.
And we're thankful that we met you guys and we met the people that that helped us, succeed into moving on in our lives.
What we're trying to do is not only make a connection and have them feel like here's another group that's coming through to talk to us, but actually get them to connected so that they can get into some level of housing support.
We're finally getting back on track, and I just want to thank you guys for that.
San Bernardino County has always been the biggest, and once again, we're the best. This year, we earned an incredible 200 achievement awards from the National Association of Counties, winning more than any other county for the third year in a row. There are more than 3,000 counties in the United States, and San Bernardino County continues to stand above them all in terms of accolades for innovation, efficiency, and public service. Under the Board of Supervisors' leadership, we were honored this year for making it easier to adopt a new pet, raising awareness of the dangers of fentanyl, bringing Wi-Fi connectivity to Ayala Park, safeguarding employee emails from phishing scams, cleaning up our communities, rebuilding the Birch Creek Culvert Crossing with storm readiness in mind, launching the County Museum's new and improved website, inspiring the next generation of county employees, improving access to health care records, supporting production of new housing units through a housing development fund. And this is just a sample of the 200 national awards that San Bernardino County earned for the services we provide to our residents and visitors.
We have thousands of signs that live in the roadway. Our overall mission is to keep the motoring public safe more than anything.
From here to Needles and then going up north to Trona, as far as county maintained roads. We maintain that whole area. We manufacture 4 different types of signs. There's guide signs that are street name signs. There's also construction signs, warning signs, also regulatory signs, which regulate stuff like speed limits. We start with the Flexi design program on the computer. Then we transfer the design onto a material, and then we transfer that material to an aluminum blank.
The last step is we put this protective covering 1160 over the sign. Out in the desert, when the sun's beating on a sign, it prolongs the sign. If someone tags the sign with graffiti, it allows us to wipe the graffiti off and it's not going to damage the sign.
We used to do it by hand, a lot of by hands, just like putting a puzzle, just by letters. Now we do 99% printing.
With the HP latex printers, that has really opened things up as far as the possibilities of making more custom signs.
Instead of sending it to a company, it'll take weeks, 2 weeks. Right now we can just do it today and have it ready.
Life happens. An accident that takes out a stop sign. These guys have to go out there in windy conditions when it's super hot, 110 degrees out there. They have to be there to replace the sign.
There's something special about signs, in my opinion, because signs last longer. I've been able to make the sign on the computer, print it out, make it here on the table, go out in the field and put it in the ground, And then as I'm driving by, I can tell my daughter, you know, I made that. So I think that's pretty cool.
Today we are celebrating the installation of a 1923 Ford Model T here at the San Bernardino County Museum. It was donated by Dr. Herbert Fisher and the Fisher family. This car really reflects the development of the car culture in Southern California and really all of America, and it reflects the development of the middle class. The Model T opened up access to travel for most Americans. This car specifically was used in the area in agriculture for the last 70 years.
It's a 1923 Model T Roadster pickup. With our roots, there's 4 generations of us that are from San Bernardino, and I was always very happy to share it with the community.
So because of the connection between our board chair and Dr. Fisher, after meeting with David and some of his staff, he decided to be gracious and give the Model T to the museum here.
The vehicle that has been donated to the County of San Bernardino Museum is here at Fleet because we are going to get it prepped to be able to have it as a display within the museum. And so some of the things we do is drain the fuels, get the electrical system ready so that people can look at it, and there's no dangers of any fuels or any type of oils that would leak onto the museum floor.
These are drastically different than modern vehicles, so it does take us a little bit of research. I mean, this vehicle is 102 years old.
Obviously, the Model T through history has been a sign of progression, but this car tells the story of Redlands, San Bernardino in 3 lifetimes, essentially.
It was owned by an orange grove grower in Redlands who was a customer of my father's retail flower nursery, Flowerland, in San Bernardino, which started in 1947. In 1950, my father convinced the orange grove grower to sell him the car for $50.
And then it was a delivery truck for the Flowerland nursery.
It's kind of interesting because we lived at the nursery and we've been taking care of the car since.
So for some of that time, it sat in a garage, but for much of that time, Dr. Fisher was restoring the car to its perfect mint condition that it's in today. He had it in parades, he had it in celebrations.
So I gave some thought to where it should go, and when I found out about the museum, I felt like couldn't be a better place for it.
I think the addition of this Model T to the collection, especially here in history and here in the citrus industry exhibit, furthers the collection that the museum already has. I think it further helps to tell the story of not only agriculture but citrus, and just the connection between the Fisher family, who've been longtime residents of our county, to the museum. It's just a wonderful match made in heaven.
And now we get 80,000 visitors a year who are going to be able to enjoy it.
Disaster can strike at any moment, whether it's a winter snowstorm, summer wildfire, or an earthquake. Being ready is our best line of defense. San Bernardino County knows that we're stronger together, so we're asking you to prepare with us. Visit prepare.sbcounty.gov to equip yourself with knowledge. Sign up for emergency alerts or download our Ready SB County app. Learn how to create a family plan, assemble an emergency kit, and more. Preparedness is a responsibility we all share, and preparedness starts here.
Today we are at the newly completed Birch Creek Bridge in Oak Glen. This project demonstrates the county commitment to disaster preparedness and disaster response. When Tropical Storm Hillary came through, it completely inundated this creek and destroyed the bridge.
The prior bridge crossing was a smaller 12x6 box culvert, which was heavily damaged by large boulders that came down the burn scar area. Our engineering department put together a quick project to replace the destroyed structure with two 10x10 precast boxes.
I'm extremely proud of our crews and our engineering teams for finding an innovative solution to replacing and repairing this bridge.
These two precast boxes tremendously improved the ability of water and debris to flow underneath the roadway. The project started in mid-September, and we're standing here now on the brand new bridge, which has been opened prior to Thanksgiving.
So often county projects get held up during design, or because of environmental concerns or material lead time. And this project, we were able to complete it in record time.
We have been cleaning channels and installing mitigation measures like K-Rail in preparation for the upcoming winter season. We have cameras in place to monitor the area remotely and have pre-positioned barricades and equipment to close down roads quickly and begin the cleanup process as soon as the storm is over.
With the reopening of this road, visitors and residents now have full access to their homes and local businesses.
Today, we are at Calico Ghost Town celebrating California Days.
California Days is a two-day festival that we have every year at Calico, and it's to represent the history of California and the significance of Calico Ghost Town.
We have a ton of activities that celebrate the history of California.
The best thing I love about Calico is that it's about living history. And we're here to show you what it would have been like living in town during this time.
Calico was very important to the country and to San Bernardino County because it was the largest silver strike in California. So it really put San Bernardino on the map. A lot of money came out of here and a lot of very wealthy people made a lot of money here.
The miners, people forget, were the young soldiers coming out from the Civil War to find their fortunes. Because Calico was so isolated, this was the schoolhouse that everybody came to.
People here were resilient, lived through scorching summers and freezing winters. You had to be a pretty tough cookie. Walter Knott saved this town by buying it in 1951. It was completely going to pot because it wasn't a valid mining town anymore. But he had worked here years before and fell in love with it, as a lot of people that are associated with Calico do.
We want people to know their history and know how important it is and where our roots are.
It's exciting to be able to go back in time. A lot of places no longer exist like this.
There's so much for the entire family to do. A lot of music, we have food, we have drink, and just a lot of people and character. We have the gunfights.
It's important for the community to stay in touch with their history, to know what California's been through, especially San Bernardino. It just brings the community together.
This is a part of our history.
Something magical about this place, it really is.
We're actually out here. We're showing you a chance to experience it for yourself.
I would say if you're free for the weekend, you can come out, get some good food, meet some good people, and learn something.
You guys ready? Budget and fees. Oh, and all of the retirements. Good morning. Thank you all for joining us. I would like to call our meeting to order. I would also like to acknowledge our High Desert and Joshua Tree video conferencing sites. This morning, our pledge and invocation will be presented by the 5th District.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Today is my pleasure to introduce the 5th District Invocator. Although she is a resident of the 3rd District, we'd be honored to have her have the invocation today. This is Ms. Diane Alexander of San Bernardino County, Assistant AEO, will be retiring after serving our community for over 3 decades. Yeah, 3 decades. Congratulations. And I'll give a little bit of background on Ms. Alexander before I know she's anxious to do it. But just a little bit about her background, I think is important. She began her career with the county in 1993 as an eligibility worker 1 in the TAD office, and soon after that promoted through her ranks. Her hard work, unwavering commitment, humility, and leadership has enabled her to become a beacon of hope for our employees and the residents of San Bernardino County. During her career, Ms. Alexander has excelled in bringing forth her vision in our county, often spearheading and championing groundbreaking initiatives such as the integration of the equity element and countywide vision. I know that was very, very important to her personally, and allowing for opportunities of all individuals. During her spare time, which is very, very rare, she spends time traveling with her family and friends, reading and writing poetry, cooking, dancing, public motivational speaking. Additionally, she ministries the homeless and provides food for clothing, and more importantly, inspires hope. This morning, we are blessed to have our good friend with the County of San Bernardino, Ms. Alexander, lead us in prayer, and she will recite the Pledge of Allegiance.
Thank you so much. And I'd like to say I feel so blessed to be able to have this opportunity to pray this morning over a county and a county organization that I have loved for so many years. So let us pray. Our Father and our God, we come before you humbly this morning because we recognize that we are but human, that you are God. You know all things, you have all power, and you have the ability to take care of the things that concern our hearts. And so we come before you boldly also, Lord, because we do have concerns. This amazing county with this amazing Board of Supervisors and CEO address issues on a daily basis that affect our community in good ways and in not so good ways. So this morning, Lord, I just pray that as their time continues, that you would give them wisdom, that you would give them faith to believe that they can do amazing things beyond which they ever would have imagined. Lord, that you would give them insight, that you would give them caring hearts, that they would see the people of this county and recognize that everyone wants the same thing, an opportunity to live, work, and play in this great county of San Bernardino so that they can prosper, be in good health, and be able to take care of their families the way that everyone in our country wants to. So Lord, we just continue to pray that you would give them whatever it is they need in order to address the agenda items for today and for the next week and the next week. Give them strength, help them to have good health. And I just pray for this amazing county, Lord, that we will have and continue to pursue a vision of having shared goals, of being in alignment with each other, no matter what region of the county it is, that we would all come together and work together to make things good as possible for all. And I pray this in Jesus' name, amen. And if you could please join me for the invocation. Ready, begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Diana.
All right, we will move on to our memorial adjournments. This morning, on behalf of the entire Board of Supervisors, we would like to adjourn in memory of Deputy Hector Cuevas Jr., who passed away in the line of duty while in pursuit of a stolen vehicle in Victorville.
Deputy Cuevas was just 36 years old and had served for San Bernardino County Sheriff's Department for 6 years. He also served the upland community with his unwavering commitment to public safety. He served there for 6 years before joining us. Beyond law enforcement, Deputy Cuevas was an active member of the Rialto football community and was involved in the San Bernardino Spartans Football Association. We thank him for his dedication to public service and keeping our community safe, and we offer his wife and 2 young children our deepest condolences. Vice Chair.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Our heart goes out to fallen Deputy Hector Cuevas and his family, and I know that Deputy Cuevas had a strong connection to the 5th District. He was a product of the Rialto Unified School District. He attended Rialto schools. He went to Kolb Middle School. He then attended Carter High School for 3 years, and then his senior year, he transferred to Eisenhower High School. Shortly after that, he was a football coach at Carter High School, so he was very, very involved with the community and, was a dedicated deputy. And I think one of the things to keep in mind is, as we lose, a deputy like this, we just want to thank our deputies, all our deputies, for their service. And I think sometimes our community, we take things for granted, and life is just so precious. I mean, there's no precious on life and the time that, he's going to miss with his loved ones, his wife and his children. And I just think that is, it's tough. It's tough on the county family, our deputies, and, just really want to thank the entire law enforcement community up and down the state. I know they've been reaching out to our Sheriff, Shannon Dykes, and, our local union, SEBA, and just offering their support. So it just goes to show how much support we have for our public safety community, but most of all, our heart goes out for the loss of Deputy Hector Cuevas. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Supervisor Armendariz.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Hector was a resident of Fontana. And I think that nothing hits a community harder than when you see the loss of a life, especially one that was done so selflessly in the line of duty for someone. It's very unfortunate. My heart from my family and myself personally go out to his family, his 2 daughters, his wife. This is really a reminder to us of the sacrifices our law enforcement have every single day and for what they do for us. And when a life is taken, we can't forget very easily. We have to make sure we do everything to ensure that that life will continue to go on in memory for not just days to come, but years to come. And my heart truly goes out to his family and this tragedy that has happened. That concludes my comments.
Thank you. Supervisor Cook?
Just to add to what our colleague said, we do support the family and give our thoughts and prayers for them. But just a reminder what our public safety goes through day in, day out, that they are exposed to risk and dangers and loss of life. And we very much appreciate what they do to keep us safe and to respond when needed to our residents in San Bernardino County. But a special, really blessing to our department and to the family for the grief they must be going through. Thank you.
Thank you. Vice Chair Baca, do you have any additional adjourned memories?
I do. I have one. It's with deep sadness that we adjourn today in memory of Marcy Velasquez, a lifelong resident of San Bernardino who passed away on March 4th, 2025. She was 51 years of age. Marcy dedicated her career serving the community as a laboratory tech at our local county hospital at Arrowhead Regional Medical Center, where she worked for 10 years. She played a vital role in providing quality laboratory results in support of medical staff's mission to deliver excellent patient care. Her commitment to accuracy, professionalism, and compassion made her an invaluable member of the healthcare team and contributed meaningful to the well-being of countless patients. So thank you for everything she did. Marcy is survived by her loving husband, her mother, Marcelina DePriest, and her husband, Paul, her sisters, Vanessa Doyle, and her husband, Noah, and Victoria, Arnold, and her husband, Nick. Vanessa continues the family tradition of public service as a county with the Auditor Controller Office. Marcia will be remembered for her kindness, dedication, and positive impact she had on her colleagues, friends, and loved ones. Her presence will be deeply missed, but her contributions to the San Bernardino County and our San Bernardino community will not be forgotten. So may she rest in peace. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Supervisor Armendariz? No more. Paul, do you have any adjourned memories? Additional? No. Okay. Supervisor Hagman?
Yeah, thank you, Madam Chair. We have the news of Dave Myers passing. He was the founder of Hills for Everyone, established in 1977 to safeguard the unique natural lands of the Puente Chino Hills Wildlife Corridor. Dave was also the driving force behind the formation of the Chino Hills State Park, located in my district, spanning 12,000 acres from Santa Ana Mountains to the Whittier Mountains. Through his visions and boldness, he preserved the beauty of the wildlands and wildlife in the heart of the highly urbanized region. So I'd like to adjourn his memory too, Madam Chair.
Thank you very much. That brings us to our special presentations. If I can ask my colleagues to join me in the well and invite Diana Alexander to join us as well. You know we have a lot of mixed feelings about this, right?
I do too. Look great today. We are? Stop looking at my underwear.
It is my honor to present this resolution today to Diana Alexander, who is retiring after 32 years of dedicated service to the county. Diana began her career with the Transitional Assistance Department and has gone on to serve in many leadership roles, including Assistant Director of TAD, Director of Preschool Services, Deputy Executive Officer of Community Services Group, and finally, Assistant Executive Officer for the County Administrative Office. Diana, it has truly been a pleasure for all of us to work with you, and we congratulate you on all of your years of service to our communities.
Just want to say, I'm going to try to be brief. I'm just so thankful. I cannot believe 32 years have passed by. It feels like it was the blink of an eye. But I can honestly say, almost without exception, that every bit of it was amazing. I'm a young girl from a broken home in Columbus, Georgia. And Jeannie Zapata, you messed me up. I told you I wasn't going to cry. And to be here, to have come here to California and to be able to have accomplished all the things that I have accomplished, all I can say is praise God, hallelujah. I have been so happy to serve in every capacity, starting as an eligibility worker, which I think is the perfect foundation to be able to do anything in this county. You can make it as an EW, you can do everything. But to have been able to touch so many people and have so many people touch my life, and I especially want to say through the mentoring programs that we have in our county. I was mentored as a young new employee, and I have tried to give back ever since. I want to say a special thank you to Luther. He has made these last couple of years easier. Luther Trust, he gives you autonomy. He allows you to move and grow and develop and do what you need to do, and that has been awesome for me. I want to also thank the members of the board. I just want to say real quick to Supervisor Armendariz, I'm so glad we got to go to DC for the NACO trip because I didn't really know you very well before then, but now I got to know your generous spirit, the fun, your passion about the work, and that we both are really good at axe throwing. And then for Supervisor Baca, our vice chair, you are such a hardworking man. I just appreciate and respect everything that you do. I've seen your passion too for the work. And I really appreciate your love for community. I wanted to say to Supervisor Cook, he's like my big brother, constantly teasing me, constantly. And I want to keep him out of the mic because he's going to say something that's not quite right. Oh, see, there it goes. But I actually met him when I was director of preschool services department in Washington, D.C., where I got to go to the Capitol building and meet him in this office. I have pictures of him at a younger age. But he has proven has proven to be an amazing supervisor. He was an amazing man in Washington, and he's an amazing man here. And then last, well, not last, but Supervisor Hagman, your work ethic is crazy. I don't think anybody could keep up with you, the amount of work that you do, the ideas you have, your brilliance. It was so wonderful, too, to be able to really get closer to you during COVID, as we did a million videos together for the community. But it really helped me to understand you and how I could support you and what you needed. It was my pleasure to do so. And then last but not least, for Chair Rao. From the first time I met you, when you came in as the new chair, and I remember two things. One, we were both on a panel together, I think women's leadership or something like that, and how we just played off each other like we had known each other for years. And then I remember how respectful you were when I went to the museum and you were gonna go have a tour, and the museum was under me. And when I got there, I said, "Is the supervisor here?" They said, "Yeah, she got here before you, but she refused to start without you." And I thought, wow, this woman she's something else. And ever since, you've been amazing, the way you have supported me, and especially through the death of my husband, because you've experienced the same kind of loss in your life. I just appreciate you so much. We'll always love you and your thoughtfulness and just kindness. So thanks to everyone. There's so many people here. I'm not going to say thank you to all of you, but I see everybody and so grateful, and I'm grateful that my family is here too. But I'm going to be in this community, and I'm going to continue to be here. I've been teasing people. I'm going to get on the grand jury and I'm going to be a gadfly, and I'm going to, all those things where you wanted to get up, but as a department head, you could not get up and say anything. Now I get to come and say. I'm teasing. But anyway, can I bring my family forward? If my whole family could come up, all of you. This is coming up in the blue shirt, my son, Curtis Jr., and his beautiful wife, Kim, and their 3 children. And then I have my daughter, Amber, with her little one, and then my other brothers and sisters.
She gets a raise for all the people that come up because we can't see who shows up. There's you in the back.
I would now like to ask Eric Guerrera to join us. I would like to present this resolution today in honor of Eric Guerrera, who is retiring from the county after 28 years of service in human resources. Eric began his career as an employment service specialist, most recently promoting to assistant director of human resources in 2024. We appreciate your leadership and to the department and to all of our county employees, and we wish you well in retirement.
Thank you.
Would you like to say a few words?
Please. Good morning, everybody. It's amazing to be here. I've had an amazing journey. Hard to believe the years went by so quickly. This has been such a part of my life for so long. I told my boss that if I accidentally show up to work on Monday, just send me home. I do want to say thank you to my staff and colleagues. You guys are amazing. I will truly miss the ability and teamwork collaboration that we've shared. You guys keep up the great work. I know Human Resources is in great hands. Special thank you to my wife and daughters for their unwavering support over the years. I look forward to spending more time with them in the days coming ahead. So many great memories that I'm taking with me. Thank you for sharing in my journey. With much gratitude to the board, to the county leadership, I want to say thank you and God bless.
Would you like anybody to join us for pictures?
Should I have my family, please?
Can we ask his family to please join us up here for photos? And when we're done with the family photo, we're going to ask staff to join us real quick for another photo. Here, I'll have you hold that.
Yeah, we got plenty of room here.
Jump up. Yep. Here. Oh, there you go.
You cut us out for the Christmas photo later.
All right, now we'll have the staff join us.
All right, back wall staff, if you guys want to come down, I just want a quick photo. Whoever wants to come down, make it quick because they're waiting. You're holding up the board meeting. Thank you.
Jump in.
Yes, Leo.
Actually, you may want to jump down on the ground there. Yep, there you go. Leo, up. Yep.
Leo's so tall. Yeah.
There you go. All right. Come on in.
There's a gap right there.
What about, am I supposed to go into space or something?
Move forward.
There you go, there you go. We're good. He's tall.
Go ahead, Scott. I am in a shirt. Am I the only one there?
Congratulations. Two more. I would now like to ask Tarina Brown to please join us. Good morning. I would like to present this resolution in honor of Tarina Brown, who is retiring after 37 years of public service, with 28 of those years being with the county. Tarina worked with various departments, including the Sheriff's Department, the Assessor Recorder, County Clerk, and the Auditor, Controller, Treasurer, Tax Collector. She has served across many technical roles, playing a pivotal role in driving technological advances across the county. We thank you for your dedication, and we wish you a very happy retirement. Say a few words.
I just want to thank the board for taking the time to honor me today. I also want to thank Mr. Mason, the Assistant Auditor, Controller, Treasurer, Tax Collector, and Vanessa Doyle, the Assistant Auditor, Treasurer, Tax Collector, Controller, Treasurer, Tax Collector. If it wasn't for Vanessa, I probably wouldn't be retiring today. I sat in her office probably 10, 15 years ago, and she's the one that actually got me thinking about one day retiring. And I also want to thank my supervisor, Rowena. She's the SAP chief, and all the colleagues that I worked with in the various departments all around the county that made this 28 years fly by. So thank you.
Congratulations. Would you like to bring up any family for a photo? Or? Okay, great, thank you. All right, I would now like to ask Eric Broom to join us.
There we go. Yeah. That's great.
Aloha.
Aloha.
It is our honor to present this resolution to Eric, who's retiring after 40 years of service as a liability claims adjuster. And 20 of those years were with the county. Eric is retiring as a supervising liability claims representative, where he has been committed to supporting the county's claims management and litigation. We are grateful for all of your contributions, and we wish you a happy and fantastic retirement, and apparently in the islands.
Thank you. Thank you.
Would you like to say a few words?
Sure. Well, this is going to be a pretty surreal moment, actually being able to retire. I want to thank, I can't put in enough words, my appreciation to San Bernardino County, the Department of Risk Management for all of their support and welcoming me with their open arms throughout the years. I'd like to give thanks to our current art director, Whitney Fields, and Deputy Director Paul Keel for their unwavering support. During my first 2 years of working with the county, started my career with surviving cancer, and second year after that had to have a brain tumor removed. So, but probably the most memorable time during my first few years is my wife, she worked at the Hall of Records, and we bumped into each other one day in the lobby. And after, fast forward, 14 plus years of marriage and a beautiful son, Elon. So had it not been for the county, I wouldn't be in this position at all. So that's all I have to say. Thank you.
Would you like to bring them up for a photo? We'd like to ask his family to join us up here for a photo, please.
How you doing, Tiger? Good.
We will now move on to our reports from County Council. Tom.
Thank you, Madam Chair. There are no reportable items from closed session.
And our reports from our CEO, Luther.
All right. Good morning, Madam Chair. Just wanted to take a moment and thank Diana. I know she's running out, and we will catch her later. But I can't express enough what a wonderful woman she is, how amazing she has been for this county, and how greatly she will be missed. Thank you, and I will get you later.
All right, that brings us to our individual board member comments. Vice Chair Baca.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just want to highlight a few things. So I just want to give a shout out to Public Works. We got a request from the some constituents in regards to the Lytle Cajon Wash cleanup area. So one of the things that Public Works was able to do along with code is to deal with a lot of encampments, remove debris, and install barriers to stop future illegal access. So this is very important, especially for the San Bernardino community. The area is now safer, cleaner, and more environmentally sound. The other thing I just want to highlight, I want to thank the team for the success we had at the groundbreaking for the Kessler Park Dreamfield. It was a $3.3 million investment. I want to thank Luther and his team for the good work for it, but most of all, just the amount of success we had and how appreciative the Bloomington community was. It was great to see, Dodger legend Steve Garvey and Manny Mota to be there to support our community, but it was just a great event. In addition, we were able to donate $10,000 to the Bloomington Little League to help. There's a lot of need there, and it was just a great event. Also, we had a meet and greet for our new deputies in the Bloomington community, and that was hosted by the Sheriff's Department and the Quality Management Group. I really want to thank the Quality Management Group. What they were able to do in one of our facilities in Bloomington, they're providing a space for deputies and the community to have meetings, to be able to use it as a workstation. It's a great partnership, and it was great to hear the concerns for the community had in regards to, crime and nuisances going on in the Bloomington community. Also want to give a shout out to Josh Dugas for having a successful mobile vet clinic tour event. It was a great event to see a long line of people taking advantage of the mobile vet clinic. And I think people don't realize the impact of this is more than just having a mobile unit. The amount of use that this mobile unit will have, it will be able to go out to cities that we contract with and provide, chipping, spading, neutering services. Also, you can have surgeries in there. And the other thing that's important to point out, in the event of a earthquake or major disaster, it has kennels inside, so if people need to store their animals. So it's just a great, valuable resource. And as we, continue to build our animal shelter, we can then, deploy this throughout the community. And if we continue to get contracts with cities, it's just a great resource that our cities will have and our county will have. Also want to thank, Public Works for the great work they did at the Glen Helen Nature Playground groundbreaking. I want to thank Beata Davis and her team. It was a $2.46 million investment at Glen Helen Regional Park, which is going to make significant improvements to the playground. It'll be ADA accessible, and it's just a great investment. And I appreciate the staff's work on this and the great investments we continue to make throughout our county. This past Saturday, we had our fourth fishing day with the supervisor. I want to thank the probation department and CFS for their partnerships. They're able to provide many at-risk youth with an opportunity to fish, and I would say probably 60% of the kids that participate had never fished before, so it was really a tremendous partnership to provide these opportunities, and many of these kids came throughout our county, not just in the 5th District. And then yesterday, we had the opportunity to highlight one of our local heroes with an interview for a community spotlight. It's Alexander Madison. He's currently just signed with the Miami Dolphins. He's going to be starting a season, but it's great to see people from our county and our community that have been resilient and have done great things, and we're looking forward to seeing the spotlight being put out. And just want to highlight some items on the agenda. Item number 46, it's a multi-way stop sign on Sterling and Marshall and Del Rosa. So this will bring safety in regards to the Del Rosa community. This was brought forth by us by one of our constituents. Item 66, this is one that's been long awaited. This is, the Sheriff's Department kicking in some money, a little over $4 million in order to build the Rosina Ranch Fire Station. So this will not only be a fire station, it will also have 2,000 square feet for our sheriff deputies. The great thing is that this will not only serve the 5th district, it'll also serve the 3rd district and the Lytle Creek community, and it also be able to provide help in the Fontana community and the 2nd district. So this is a great investment. Just want to thank the sheriffs for their partnership, working closely with the, with the county fire. And the last item is item number 72. Basically what this is we're going to look at adding sidewalks in the Muscoy community. It's a great investment. It's a partnership with SBCTA, and want to thank them for their investment in the county and providing, long-needed sidewalks in the community. And just the last thing to highlight, I serve on the LAFCO committee, and I just want to thank Luther, Trevor, and the entire team for working on this item. And basically what it is an agreement with the County of San Bernardino and the City of Colton to provide water services for this community, unincorporated Colton community. They don't have access to any water now that the City of Colton will be able to provide water for them. So I just want to thank Luther and his team for doing tremendous work on this to make this a reality. And that concludes my comments, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Supervisor Armendariz.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'm going to keep it short today. I just want to highlight just a couple of events that we're going to be having here. Hope you guys can join us on March 27th from 5 to 6:30 at Bubble City in Rancho Cucamonga. It's an opportunity for us to come together as a public and just kind of learn from each other and hear your feedback and see what's going on in the community that we can be partners or advocates with you with. Also, we're going to be having 2 pet adoption events, one on March 28th at Fontana Dog Park, and one on March 30th at Mount Baldy Dog Park in Upland. Those will both be held from 4 a.m. or 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. in partnership with our county animal control and the sponsorship for this event. We will be waiving the adoption fees for anyone who wants to adopt one of our furry friends and provide them with a new home. And this is in honor of our National Pet Adoption Week. Thank you. That concludes my comments.
Thank you. Supervisor Cook.
Well, thank you. Thank you for remembering my name. And, this occasion, I don't know, I'm getting older and older and older. But one thing about the county is we remember our family, and I use that collectively. I was in the military a long while, and the hardest job in the world was not going to combat or anything else. It was knocking on that door. And you had to be the bearer of bad tidings. I think since I've been here the short time, this has been something that I want to commend the staff and everyone else. We never forget the troops and the family here. And when we do this, it might sound kind of hokey or what have you. But this is probably, I'm not as smart as everybody else, so they make policy and everything else. But in terms of what I do, this is probably the best thing that I do, is see the reaction of the citizens and just the fact we put that much time and effort in it. If it ever stops, I'm not saying I'm going to react, but I will kick the ass of the manager. No, I'm not supposed to say that, but very, very special occasion, and I think they do a great job. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Supervisor Hagman.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just a couple notes this morning. First of all, I'm amazed with the 4 retirees this morning. Collectively, 128 years serving the county of San Bernardino. So that was just amazing to see. And I don't know what you're doing wrong, Luther, to chase all these well-qualified people away. But, what a great, they did earn it, but what a great group of folks this morning. I just want to highlight a couple of agenda items. Item number 24 will improve a $1.5 million increase at Chino Hills Pinehurst Park to build a new community center and splash pad. And item 32, support adult literacy with the James S. Thalman Chino Hills Library. In IHP world, IHP and the San Bernardino Community College District are partnering to connect local college students to healthcare in this first-of-a-kind pilot program that will serve as a model for other counties across the state. So we're congratulations to them. I do want to announce a couple of updates on local district things. Tonight's Upland State of the City, and SBC, San Bernardino County Purchasing, World of Opportunities Reverse Vendor Show. It is going to be at the Ontario Convention Center tomorrow on the 26th. On this Saturday, we're hosting with the City of Chino Hills a document shredding event for our county residents, although the signups are all full, so I guess we can't adopt any more at this point. And we have a Chino Ranchero Park grand opening on 3/29. So lots of district events. The spring is here, and everything's going well. Thank you for the time, Madam Chair.
Thank you very much. I would like to highlight item number 40 on our consent calendar today. Oh, I skipped right over you, didn't I? Did I get you?
Yeah, you got me.
I did?
Yeah. Are you having problems?
I just am having trouble with my memory.
What happens when you get old?
Okay. Item 40 on our consent calendar today is a contract that will allow our Department of Public Health to expand clinical outreach efforts in providing a mobile healthcare service to Needles and Havasu Landing area. These services are they include healthcare screenings and physicals and various tests for conditions such as diabetes and high blood pressure, as well as basic urgent care services. So I would like to thank Dr. Wang and Josh and the entire Public Health Department for servicing our rural communities. And I would also like to highlight that Supervisor Cook and I had the opportunity to attend a lovely and memorable event in the LA area for David Weiner, who is a Holocaust survivor. And it was the Holocaust Museum honoring him. And it was a lovely tribute to all that he has done in society. And how many Holocaust survivors were there that night?
I don't know.
I think there were 20 some odd Holocaust survivors in attendance. And so it was a very moving evening for someone that has done a lot for our community. And with that, I will turn it over to Lina for additions and revisions to today's agenda.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I have two changes for today's agenda. Item number 22 is being taken off calendar, and item number 49 is being taken off calendar. That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. If any board member has a conflict of interest to disclose on any item on our agenda, please do so now.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'm going to abstain from item 47 because it's near my residence.
All right. Any others? All right. Seeing none, we will now move on to our consent calendar, which today consists of items number 2 through 74. I would like to pull for discussion items number 12 and 13. Do we have any other members wishing to pull an item for discussion or provide brief remarks? All right. We'll move on to public comment for consent. And Margaret Cashin. Margaret, are you with us today? Good morning, Margaret.
Speaking on item 43, approve amendment number 1 to employment contract with Dr. Naomi Chow, Director of Doctor of Veterinary Medicine as a contract public health veterinarian. That's number 1, number 2, and number 3. I'm not an expert on this, but I just wanted to comment. It seems like most shelters don't have a vet on staff. So, for example, City of San Bernardino Animal Shelter has probably on average at least 150 to 200 animals. DeVore, probably at least 100 to 150 or more. Apple Valley Animal Shelter, probably close to 300 with no vets on staff. So you have registered vet technicians, which are a lower standard on staff administering medicine. I thought last year there was a vet that was hired. It seems like they are specifically for mobile clinics. So just want to put out there that not having a vet on staff, or at least for the county, is like running a hospital without a doctor. Thank you.
Thank you. That was the only request to speak that I have on our consent calendar, so I will entertain a motion.
Hagman seconds.
Thank you for the motion, Supervisor Baca, and a second, Supervisor Hagman. All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions?
47, Madam Chair.
Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Chair. With that, the consent calendar is approved with item numbers 12 and 13 being deferred and Supervisor Hagman abstaining on item number 47.
Thank you very much. And with that, we will take our deferred items. Item number 12 and 13 are both under the ATC. If we have someone here to present on item number 12 to start. Good morning.
Good morning, Madam Chair. We have a couple representatives here from the assessor's office. This is as much an assessor item as it is a tax collector item. Could I maybe have somebody come up and assist me from the assessor's office? Teresa? Hi. Good morning.
Hi,
Good morning.
Teresa Valdez, Assessment Services Manager for the assessor.
Did you want to present the item, Ensign, or would you like me to read it?
I can answer questions, or I can give you the synopsis of what happened.
So this is a petition to rescind a tax deed of assessor parcel number with a specific parcel number. And I have, if you can give us a summary of what happened, and then I have some questions.
Okay. So this is a timeshare, and the way timeshares work is that they start off life as something else, in this case, a condo. As the timeshare weeks are sold off, they're given their own assessor parcel number and their own ownership. At the remainder, there's usually not 52 weeks, and that's sold. In this case, there was 50.5 weeks with a week and a half remaining. That becomes common area, not subject to tax. They often do this to have some time open for maintenance. So in this case, the remaining parcel never got recategorized as common property. It was still categorized as a condo. So the taxes were not paid. It went to tax sale as a condo, and after it sold, it was discovered that it was not a condo, it was a timeshare, and that we can't sell property that many people own without notifying those many people. So we're asking, and the buyer is asking for the sale to be rescinded.
So my questions is, I mean, it's got to be awful to have your property sold from you. And what mechanisms do we have in place to ensure that this doesn't happen again?
Well, it really wasn't anybody's property in particular. It was common property to the timeshare, to the resort. And nobody's claimed excess proceeds, so nobody has mentioned anything or claimed the excess proceeds. The data for that comes to us from the assessor's office, and that's why I asked Teresa, right? Yes. To come up and maybe explain what happened on the data side.
Thank you.
Good morning, Madam Chair. So the internal audit that we conducted in researching this rescission request found that the original developer back in 1996 had reached out to our office and told us of their intent to sell off the timeshares, not all at once, and that they knew that they would continue to be responsible for the taxes for the unsold portion of the timeshares. And so those intervals, as they were sold, they did not get recorded in our system accurately, so that when we got to the point of no weeks of we're still unsold, that we switched it to a tax status 4 for common area. So we have found that in our internal audit, and we do intend to make it a tax status 4. As far as making sure that it doesn't occur again in the future, we do have every intention of looking at all our resorts and making sure that we don't have any outstanding parcels that should be common area and non-taxable.
Is it possible that this has happened to other properties that haven't been caught in the audit yet?
We do not believe so. There may be some in this resort because it's unique to the situation that it's in Big Bear. The resort is, some of the condos are used for timeshare purposes and some of them are used as condos. So there is a little bit of complexity to that resort.
So it takes human oversight to ensure that it doesn't happen again. It's not anything that we can put into our systems to catch it automatically?
That is correct. So we are being proactive in doing an audit on the remainder units and making sure that we don't have anything else out there that's still outstanding.
Thank you. And is there a way that your department can verify with the assessor before these go so that we don't have to rescind this?
There are lots of parcels, probably thousands, that go up for any particular tax sale. We only have a few people in that division, so we tend to rely on the data we receive. We could add more FTE and do more checking, but this is such a rare thing. I don't think it would be a good use of resources.
All right. Any other questions? No. All right. Thank you. Do we have any public comment on this item? All right. Seeing none, I'll entertain a motion.
I'll move the items.
Thank you, Supervisor Hagman, and a second with Vice Chair Baca. All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions?
Thank you, Madam Chair. With that, item number 12 is approved.
All right, thank you very much. And on to item number 13. This is the schedule of services with Bloomberg LP.
Can I have Parth come on down? There we go. This is our Chief Deputy Treasurer.
Good morning. So if you can explain to us what happened.
Yeah, so Bloomberg is a service that we use to manage the $15.5 billion county portfolio. We've been using it for 27 years, and it allows us to basically transact securities, do economic and financial analysis. It allows us to view the whole portfolio, do stress testing, and basically it is not something that we could do without Bloomberg. Last year, when the contract came due, it went through several reviews, and there was a clerical error on the original BAI, which capped the total amount to what the one-year amount was. And so the first piece of the item is basically to clarify that and basically remove that cap so we can continue using the service and manage the portfolio. And the second item was to allow for biannual price increases, which is built into the contract since 1999. That is how Bloomberg does it. And every January, they look at the inflation rate from the past 2 years, and then they adjust the amount up. At the county right now, we have 6 terminals and use, which are used for trading and financial analysis, like I said earlier. So it's a very important piece of service.
And again, back to the same sort of spirit of the question, anything that we can do to catch the clerical errors so that they don't happen, so that the board doesn't have to take the action?
I think this one will resolve the issue with this particular item and shouldn't be an issue with this one. But it was just basically, there are so many reviews that happen in departments that don't really use the service, and then everyone wants to add verbiage in it. So potentially streamlining that could help definitely with making this straightforward.
Okay, all right, thank you. Any board member questions or comments?
I'll move the item.
Thank you. Do I have any members of the public wishing to speak on this?
No, Madam Chair.
All right, I have a motion and a second. All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions?
Thank you, Madam Chair. With that, item number 13 is approved.
Thank you,
Thank you,
gentlemen.
Madam Chair.
Thank you.
All right, with that, we will move on to our discussion calendar, which today is items 75 through 83. And our first up is the proposed 25 to 30 consolidated plan and the 2025-26 annual action plan, market analysis, needs assessment, analysis of impediments for fair housing choice, and citizen participation plan being presented this morning by Carrie Harmon. And I will open the public hearing.
Good morning, Chair Rao, members of the board, Mr. Snow, Mr. Bunton. Carrie Harmon, Director of Community Development and Housing. I'm here to present for the public hearing. And this is for the 2025 to 2030 consolidated plan and also the 2025 to 2026 annual action plan. And to put that in more easy to understand language, it's our strategic plan for some significant HUD grants we receive. Next slide, please. So the consolidated plan, the larger purpose is it's a strategic planning document that sets the goals for us to promote livable communities in our unincorporated areas and our 13 partnering cities. It also provides funding direction for guiding the allocations of community development block grant, home investment partnership, and emergency solutions grant funds every year through the annual action plan. It also includes related documents that really provide the data and the context for the goals and objectives we are setting, and that's the needs assessment, market analysis, fair housing impediments, and citizen participation plan, which outlines how we engage with our community and residents to get their impact on these documents. Next slide, please. So the annual action plan is just a one-year plan. For this year, it's guiding about $9.5 million of grant funds from the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development. That includes the Community Development Block Grant Funds, about $6.3 million. It also includes our home funds, about $2.4 million, and our ESG funds, which are just over $500,000. So the home and emergency solution grant funds are competitively bid out. Our CDBG funds are used in partnership with our cities, and that's a competitive process for those projects. And then the county projects are identified through a CIP process. Next slide, please. I think what's most important to share with the board and also our community today is the projects that the county is proposing to undertake for the next year. So in districts 1, 2, and 5, we are continuing our work to ensure that we have the road infrastructure and sidewalk infrastructure to promote active transit, access for people with disabilities, and to promote walking in those neighborhoods. So we have some curb cuts and ramp improvements in those areas. Also in District 5, we are working on some storm drain improvements to improve water management in those communities. In District 3, we are purchasing a fire truck to ensure that we can adequately address fires in those more remote communities. That both protects property and habitat, but it also ensures that on medical calls, we can get there quickly and provide those support to those residents. In District 4, we're continuing our work to improve park infrastructure and ensure that we have access for persons with disabilities, but our parks are aging well over time. Also new this year, we are doing 2 pilot projects. One, they're both county-wide, is to provide workforce services for shelter residents, because while we know housing is important, the best way out of homelessness is to increase your income. So really targeting our workforce development services there. Also, we know that dental services are #1 priority in any survey we do with our community, the need for affordable dental. So we're going to support Public Health's mobile dental program, especially in remote areas. And then lastly, we had some leftover administrative funding from our Community Development Block Grant coronavirus funds. Rather than use them for our own purposes, we are going to deploy those in the community for senior food programs in the cities of Montclair, Upland, and Ontario. So next slide, please. And then just in conclusion, all of our work today is also in compliance with our Citizens Participation Plan, which ensures that we're adequately notifying the public of this hearing. So we post ads in papers, we post it on our website, it's available in our offices. At the end of this, this hearing will conclude our 30-day public comment period. And with that, I open it up to questions and comments.
Thank you. Any board member questions or comments?
Just a quick one. Carrie, what do you see any changing of our methods over the last couple of year cycles? Are we continuing on the course, or we're seeing differences out there?
I do think we're on course. I think we have invested well in improving infrastructure, particularly in our unincorporated communities. And I think we've also looked at partnering with our 13 cities to support like childcare programs, food programs, after school, like homework. And so I think we're on course, and I see us staying this kind of path we've set.
I encourage our future evolutions of this as we're starting to grow our COG at SBCTA as a function to get that bigger picture. So when the county comes in, we could plug in maybe some of the holes and gaps on the cities and really connect with the unincorporated areas with what other people are doing too. Just so we have that bigger picture. A lot of times we fill in the gaps, but we don't have that bigger picture. And I think you're the perfect person to help take that goal and lead with on a regional level, so we can just plan and see how that works out.
Sounds great. It's always great to leverage money.
Thank you.
I do not believe we have any requests to speak on this item. I thank you very much for opening our remote conferencing sites in Hesperia and Joshua Tree, for giving the entire county an opportunity to comment on this. And with that, I will close the public hearing.
I'll move the item.
Thank you for the motion, Supervisor Hagman, and the second, Vice Chair Baca. All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions?
Thank you, Madam Chair. With that, item number 75 is approved.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Item number 76 is the introduction of our fiscal year 2025-26 proposed annual county fee ordinance. We are going to have one presentation for all the fee hearing items, and then we will take public comment and vote on each item separately. Good morning, Matthew.
Good.
I will
All right.
open the public hearing and let you get started with the presentation.
All right. Good morning, Chair Rao, members of the board, Matthew Erickson, Chief Financial Officer. Today, we are going to have a lot of financial information for you today. Not only are we going to be going over these fee hearings, but we'll have a nice financial update for you. But we wanted to start with the 25-26 recommended fee hearings, as you mentioned. Next slide. First, let me step back for a second and again thank all of the department heads that have worked so hard as part of this fee process to get our fees ready for you. As you know, we met a couple weeks ago. Staff worked really hard to prepare some workbooks for you to take a look at, see different fee changes. We went over those 2 weeks ago with you, and today is the fee hearings. As mentioned, it's fee hearings because we have several entities that will be looking for approval to proceed to the adoption of the fees 2 weeks from now. So these are the different entities, the county, along with several of our special districts, along with ISEMA as well. Next slide. I already mentioned it, but a basic overview of the fee process. On March 11th, we had our fee workshop. We took input from the board 2 weeks ago. We did have one takeaway that I'm going to go over with you in a second, but we are having the fee hearing today on March 25th. 2 weeks from now, we're looking for the adoptions. Next slide. We wanted to do a really quick recap for you of the recommended fee changes, just a big overview. As mentioned 2 weeks ago, fees do not represent a huge revenue source for us as a county. It really is about $250 million, estimated at about 3% of our overall county budget. But it does, provide funding for a lot of the different services that we provide for the public, which is a lot of our departments are reliant on it, so it's something that is important to us. We are seeing a net increase of 48 fees. That's a net an addition of 95 fees with the deletion of 47. Next slide. So our biggest takeaway from the fee workshop a couple weeks ago, Colonel Cook asked if we could look at possibly waiving some fees for veterans. And so we did do that. We worked with our county museum, regional parks, as well as our Big Bear Recreational Park District to look at potential fees we could waive. What we're looking to do is waive admissions fees on Memorial Day, Independence Day, and Veterans Day for veterans or active service members. And so that's something that we're looking to do along with regional parks. We're looking to it for entrance fees for vehicles on those days as well. So that was one of the biggest takeaways that we took from the fee workshop. We're happy to have presented that to you, and I think that's it. Next slide. If we have any questions, please feel free to let us know. I do have department heads here to help answer specific questions.
Supervisor Armendariz.
Yeah, after the workshop last meeting, I had actually brought up also if we would consider or have we considered building like like Disneyland has a SoCal Pass for our, not just our county residents, but finding benefits we can give to our county employees so that they could utilize these resources and help. And I don't know if a study needs to be done, but I feel like if we could have our local people utilize these, and even if it means some fees go up for people who are from out of state or from out of the county, I think that could be a play that we can get our local residents to see all the wonderful things we have in the county. Me personally, I still haven't been to every single park.
Yeah.
So I feel like that that could be a great opportunity and a marketing tool. And I think I asked about that last week, but I didn't hear anything about it today.
Gotcha. Sorry. So yeah, we certainly could look into that. I'm not sure that we've actually seen the impacts of what that may or may not be, but we certainly can look into that on a go-forward basis. For today, we are looking for approval. This is something that we could potentially even bring back. I don't know if at the discretion of the CEO, maybe even a little bit later. But
yeah, something we definitely can look at and see, are there ways to incentivize our local residents to come use our parks, use our amenities, and give them a little bit of a break or an opportunity to pay a little less. And yeah, we can and should look at that. And so I don't think we are not bound to have to do this on an annual basis to bring fees forward. We do that because of the complexity of this. So it's something we could look at starting today and bring back a recommendation in the near future if that's
also some sort of incentive or benefit for our county employees also.
Definitely.
Yeah.
We'll take that as a takeaway here.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions or comments? Supervisor Cook.
Yeah, rare earth mining. I don't know whether that comes up now and then. Obviously, it's an area that has national security implications. I thought you have to have special permits. But I know or I was led to believe that the Chinese do a lot of the rare earth mining. Some of these materials that have national security implications. Do you get involved in that at all? Or, because every time I start digging on this, it's like, if I tell you this, I have to kill you. Sounds like my wife. But if somebody is, I don't trust the government in China when it comes to some of these things, competition on what have you. And I don't know if this has ever been brought up before, but we have a huge area. As I said, in my district, I think you have some too.
Do mining permits, would they be under the fee schedule?
They may, I'm not familiar with that, and maybe land use related.
So land use services, the planning department has jurisdiction over our mines in the county. I believe there's over 100 mines, including one important rare earth mine, I believe, that's out there. So yes, there is fees that we charge to permit those, and
The federal government has to pay a fee, right?
we actually charge the operator of the mine for going out and ensuring that they're aligned with their permit requirements as we're required to enforce either on the state, SMARA requirements, or at the federal level.
Yeah, the reason I brought it up, I'm scratching my head about national security, and there have been some instances. I know that I'm not going to say the government of China has operated on different with different rules, but if this is in my area or what have you, I never see much literature. It's you go in trying to find it, and it's like doesn't exist or something. Is this something we need a special closed circuit brief, or it's like the government's handling it, don't worry about it? I'm more worried about the Chinese, who arguably are, I'm not going to say our enemy or anything, but somebody that's digging around in an area with national security assets, if you will. I don't know. Who would give us a brief on this?
Supervisor Cook, if you're willing, I would work with the CEO to see if this is something and the county council that we can discuss at a different time.
Oh,
It's possible too. Maybe we set up a meeting with the mine, particularly out there who does rare earth mining. Perhaps they can enlighten us in some of the challenges and risks they're facing that would help us better look for ways we could enforce or assist.
I'll be
them in
happy to
enforcement.
go with her as long as she's carrying a weapon.
Any questions about the fee hearing? No? All right. I do not believe we have any requests to speak on this, so I will close the public hearing.
I'll move it.
Thank you for the motion. Supervisor Hagman in the second. Vice Chair Baca, all those in favor? Any opposed? Any abstentions?
Thank you, Madam Chair. With that, item number 76 is approved.
Very good. Item 77 is the introduction of the proposed fiscal year 2025-26 fee ordinance for Big Bear Valley Recreation and Park District. I will open the public hearing. I do not believe I have any requests to speak on this.
We do not.
Any board member comments or questions? We'll close the public hearing and entertain a motion.
Second.
Thank you, Vice Chair Baca, for the motion and Hagman for the second. All those in favor? Any opposed? Any abstentions?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Item number 77 is approved.
Thank you. Item 78 is the introduction of proposed fiscal year 2025-26 fee ordinance for Bloomington Recreation and Park District. I will open the public hearing. Any members of the public wishing to speak on this?
We do not.
Any board member comments or questions? All right, I will close the public hearing.
Hagman moves.
Thank you, Supervisor Hagman and Vice Chair Baca for the second. All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Item number 78 is approved.
Item number 79 is the introduction of proposed fiscal year 2025-26 fee ordinance for various boards, governed county service areas and zones. We'll open the public hearing. I do not have any requests to speak. Any board member comments or questions? Seeing none, I will close the public hearing.
Hagman seconds.
Thank you, Vice Chair, for the motion and Hagman for the second. All those in favor? Any opposed? Any
Item number
abstentions?
79 is approved. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Item 80 is the introduction of fiscal year 2025-26 proposed fee resolution for ISEMA. I will open the public hearing. I do not have any requests from the public. Any board member comments or questions? All right, I will close the public hearing.
Hagman moves.
Thank you for the motion, Supervisor Hagman, and the second, Vice Chair Baca. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions?
Item number 80 is approved.
Item number 81 is the introduction of proposed fiscal year 2025-26 fee ordinance for San Bernardino County Fire Protection District. I will open the public hearing. Any members of the public wishing to speak on this?
No.
All right, any board member comments or questions?
Hagman moves.
I will close the public hearing, and thank you for the motion, Supervisor Hagman. And Vice Chair Baca seconds. All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions?
Item number 81 is approved.
Item number 82 is the introduction of proposed fiscal year 2025-26 fee ordinance for the Flood Control District. I will open the public hearing, and I do not believe I have any requests to speak on this. Any board member comments or questions? Seeing none, I will close the public hearing.
Move it.
Thank you for the motion, Supervisor Hagman, and the second, Vice Chair Baca. All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions?
Item number 82 is approved.
Very well. Item number 83, 2025 budget financial update, also being presented this morning by Matthew Erickson. Good morning again.
Good morning. Actually, Luther and I are going to tag team this one,
All
so I'll
right,
let him
I'll,
start.
I'll jump in and kick this off. So thank you, Madam Chair, members of the board. So this marks the official kickoff of the county's 25-26 budget process. So though internally to the county, we have opened the our budget prep system. I don't know if it's still called that officially, like
SBP.
SBP. I like bud prep. Well, yes, because we can't get away from that. We have went ahead and our departments have been working over the past month to start to input data into our system. What we wanted to do today for the board is have Matthew give the board an overview of kind of current state of the economy locally, at the federal level, at the state level, kind of hit it from a couple different angles, just to kind of set the tone for what we're facing, some of the challenges, some of the positives, and where we're at as a county financially. So in a moment, I'll turn that over to Matthew. Next slide, please. Thank you. And just some quick areas where we're going to hit on. We'll look at some areas of focus that I'll cover on the next slide. Matthew will cover some economic drivers in the outlook, our financial outlook, and round it up with some risks that we're facing in the immediate future. And then I'll cover some next steps. Next slide, please. So one of the things, just kind of four cornerstones that we're approaching the 25-26 budget from at a staff level. We're really looking to try to use data to a greater extent to guide decisions. We are focused on recruitment and retention. This is an interesting time when we are seeing what I would call some instability at the federal level from the standpoint of employment. There are a lot of people out there with great government experience who we're looking at, trying to find some great ones and hire them to fill our about 15.5% to 16% vacant positions that we currently hold. So it's a great opportunity to go out there and scoop up some strategic talent. And so we're focused on that. And also, even though we had, as Supervisor Hagman pointed out, some quite a few years leave us today as in retirement, well earned, but still, nonetheless, we then have to, work to replace those individuals. So it's a great time to go out and look for talent. And now stability amid uncertainty. That's something that Matthew will also touch on here, as well as strategic planning and how do we seek opportunities responsibly and look for, in the midst of the times we're in, how can the county capitalize on some different things that maybe we in prior years may not have been able to do, but given the work of the board and the work of staff to put the county in a good financial spot, that there is some opportunity. So I'm going to turn it over to Matthew and let him take it away from here.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Luther. So yeah, I wanted, there's going to be lots of numbers that I'll be going over with you. I apologize. Feel free to interject with any questions that you may have, but I did want to hone in on one overall theme that we're seeing is in the midst of uncertainty for our county, which we always have. You all know we get hit with disasters all the time. We get hit with state budget impacts. We take great pride in the stability of our finances for the county to be able to weather a lot of storms. And so there is a lot of uncertainty that I'm going to be going through with you right now. I'll talk a little bit about the economy, but I'll also talk a lot about how we like to approach the budget and how we like to prepare for things that are uncertain in uncertain times. So with that, as you guys know, we look at economic drivers, and the last few years, since about 2022, one of the key economic drivers has been inflation. It was quite high a couple years ago in the 9% CPI growth range that we had, and we have seen some tempering. That tempering has largely been due to the Federal Reserve Board increasing interest rates, and that's what they do when there's times of high inflation. They increase interest rates, which then helps slow down the economy a bit. We've seen those rates rise as high as the 5-ish%, and we've begun to see a slight reduction in that. The Federal Reserve Board began to cut rates beginning in September. They have a couple more rate cuts planned, or at least anticipated, for the upcoming year. Because inflation has begun to decline a little bit. We've actually seen year over year about a 2.7% increase in inflation, which is obviously far less than what we were at a couple years ago. That being said, the real new component that we have from an economic standpoint that's not been something we've really discussed about in the past, recently at least, is tariffs. So, one thing tariffs can absolutely do is increase the cost of all sorts of goods and potential services. And so a risk that is out there, what economists will call stagflation. Stagflation is a situation where you can see stagnant economic growth, high unemployment, and rising inflation. Although we have not necessarily seen that at this point, that is certainly something that is being discussed by many economists right now, and that's something we're looking close into. Along with that, I wanted to highlight. So, we have a couple economists that work for us. One of our main economists is Beacon Economics. They provide us forecasting, and they did provide us forecasting back in January. I wanted to highlight it because, basically what they told us back in January was, hey, we're pretty confident the economy is staying on track. We do not foresee a recession, but of course I bolded. The outlook for San Bernardino County could change if tariffs are imposed on key trading partners, triggering a trade war. As you know, and if you've seen in the news recently, that's an ongoing discussion right now. Although, there's discussion of Canada tariffs, Mexico tariffs, Chinese tariffs, along with on specific items like steel, automobiles. So although that is an ongoing discussion, it absolutely is something that we're paying very close attention to as we're looking forward into the budget. For our county in particular, I wanted to talk a little bit about our local economy and the importance of logistics. So logistics for us, the logistics sector, warehouses, obviously has been very beneficial for our county economically. And what I wanted to highlight a little bit, which is pretty interesting, is this employment-related data. Hopefully you guys can see that there. There's 4 different columns. The first 2 columns really represents change in employment on the logistics sector for the various Southern California counties since 2020. And as you can see, our county has done quite well on a comparative basis since 2020. We've seen 24% increase in employment. That is from 2020 up until basically today. But probably more importantly, if you look at it, the same data from 22 through today, it doesn't look quite the same. And so as you can see, we're seeing an 8.2% reduction. If you just take 2 years later, we've seen quite a reduction in the employment of the logistics sector for our county, really the most of any county. We've seen 10,000 jobs that have declined. And so that's something, when our economy does well, when the logistics sector does well, but what we are focused on is if it's not doing quite well, how will we do? This next slide for you also kind of gets into that a little bit more. What you're looking at is basically the amount of warehouses that are being built and completed compared to how much we call absorption. And so absorption is basically the total square feet that's been occupied, less the number of square feet that have been vacated. And so if you look, I wanted to point out this last year, 2024. So if you look at the blue lines, that's basically completions, like the number of square footage just being built in our county, and that's quite a bit. The 15,000 is in thousands, so that really represents 15 million square feet that's being completed in 2024. But more importantly, at least as we're looking at it, is the absorption. That is about 400,000 square feet net absorption, meaning that much more of space has been occupied compared to what has been vacated. If you look at some of the prior years, it's in the millions. So that's basically indicative of potential slowdown, and that's something we're looking closely into as well, especially for our economy. We are highly dependent on sales tax for some of our very important services that we provide for the county. So a lot of our public safety departments, and I'm going to go over this with you in a second, are really reliant on sales tax. And so when you look at the California economy as a whole, when we're talking about retail sales, I really like this slide because it really shows what's happened with our sales tax. If you look at, this is from 2019 all the way through now, this is percentage growth on retail sales statewide. That 60+% is 2021, directly after COVID. Seeing 61% increase in retail sales is extraordinary. And that's what we saw for a couple of years in our county, is sales tax growth being quite large. As you can see, it's tapered off quite a bit. We actually have had a couple periods of declining growth in retail sales, and it's really just very mild growth that we're seeing as of right now. I'll jump right into the next slide because that really, it shows the same from a county revenue standpoint. Sorry, I should stop. Any questions? I know I'm going through this pretty quick. All right.
I have a couple.
Go ahead.
No, I was going to wait till the end, but while you're bringing up Matthew,
Gotcha.
I think a lot of this stuff we got to put in context. So, you just go back to that sales tax. When we're stuck at home, everyone started buying and clicking at home, getting delivery.
Exactly.
And since we're the hub for most of Southern California for those warehouses, that gave us our peak during COVID. So that's abnormal. It's not something we should ever count on.
100%.
And then on the warehouse absorption rate, during that lead up, that was our growth. Yeah. And there's not a lot of places left in the valley. They were doing warehouses for warehouses during COVID. Yep. And that was the expansion phase. And now we're back to, quote, normal times. We should see that level off. So I don't look at it as a major negative. Mm-hmm. I do also see by whatever the tariffs, I mean, it's going to be interesting because we have a lot of importers that store their goods and services here. I think we'll see for this quarter being an uptick to try to get ahead of the tariffs and have that stock in hand. And then depends how long they go or if they stabilize, how long that trend goes. But also, we're starting to see dramatic investment into manufacturing throughout the country. Do we set ourselves up for some of those opportunities here in the county as well? So it is a mixed bag. I wish we had crystal balls and we could figure it out very well. I'm glad you're on top of it, but I don't see that as major things. It's really taking what's going on worldwide and then seeing that applies to us as a logistics hub.
No, those points are incredibly well founded. I think, for us as a county, how we like to react from a financial perspective is we don't like to overreact. You're 100% right. We do not know what the future holds. I never proclaim to. I don't like to make too much fun of economists, but economists don't know actually either too much exactly what's going to happen. We cannot predict the future, but what we can do is plan for that future, and that's kind of what we're going to jump into in a second. So, as it relates to Proposition 172, again, it's a half-cent sales tax that goes towards our public safety departments. This is very similar slide to what you just saw. This is our actual revenue growth or declines. We talked a little bit about this last year. We were projecting, we saw 17% sales tax growth in our county in 21-22. That was after an 11% sales tax growth. It was pretty extraordinary revenue growth that we saw. But as you can see, it's normalizing, and I think that's a great way of stating it, Supervisor Hackman, is it is more normalizing to where we saw 2% growth, but then we've seen some slight declines. The decline that we had last year was anticipated. We actually talked about this last year, and we were projecting going into this year some declines, and it's kind of coming to fruition exactly how we anticipated. We see a 1.6% reduction so far for the year. It's not extraordinary, but it is obviously something that we're seeing a bit of a slowdown. This is a slide I shared with you last year, and hopefully it's not too confusing, but I do love to show it because it's really demonstrative of how we approach the budget with the county. So the orange slide is actual receipts of that same revenue source that we have, while the blue, columns, or bars, the blue bars are what we actually budgeted or what we programmed in for our departments. So as you can see, I'll go backwards. We had huge growth that frankly, I was not anticipating in 21, 22, 17% growth. And so our actual receipts were so much more than budgeted that we did not take that opportunity. We could have. So if you look at the dollar amount, we were in the $270 million range in 21, 22. We could have that next year just said, hey, we're going to go ahead and program all of that. That's revenue we got. We're going to go ahead and give a bunch more money to do a bunch more programs within the county. But we took a tiered approach to doing that. And that's what you see in those blue columns is really slower growth. So it was still great growth. We saw about $25 million ongoing each of those years that we were able to give our sheriff's department, our probation, our district attorney departments, some new programs that they were able to accomplish, but we didn't do it quickly. And so what you can see is in 22-23, we actually, since 22-23, have seen declining revenue sources in that same revenue source. But if you look at between 22-23 and 23-24, we actually were able to grow programs at a time that we saw a decline in the revenue. And the reason for that is because we were so much under the actual amounts that we were receiving, we were able to expand at times where other entities maybe needed to decline. And so what we're seeing, and I wanted to show you 25-26 projections, is of course, we're still trying to be prudent in the way that we're projecting our revenues for the upcoming year. We are not seeing as much of a delta between the budget and actuals, and that's okay. We feel pretty comfortable and confident that we, one, have plenty of reserves, but also two, that we are hopeful to see, and our economists are telling us we think we'll see some slight increases in sales tax for the upcoming fiscal year. A huge revenue source that we have in the discretionary general fund for the county is property tax. Property tax makes up roughly 80% of our ongoing discretionary revenue sources. That's the revenue sources that our board of supervisors, that you have control over to spend on any way that you want. And so property tax is very important to us as a county. That 80% represents roughly $945 million ongoing that we're using to support our residents. And so, it's been interesting. What we look at is as the feds have increased interest rates, that makes it so that mortgage rates go up. That does make it so it's a little bit harder to see a lot of transactions of people buying and selling homes. That does create upward pressure on home prices that we've seen. And so this is for our county. You can see over this period of time, gradual increases in our median home price. That means for us, increase in property-related revenue for us as a county. But if you look at annual home listings, you'll see on the flip side a decline, and that's largely tied to, as I mentioned, increased interest rates equals higher mortgage rates. Less people are inclined to buy a home when you might be stuck in interest rates or mortgage rates that are quite a bit lower than what they historically were in the 2020 timeframe. And so what we see is a slowdown in transactions. For us as a county, what that also could potentially mean is we reappraise the value of homes when there's a transaction. When we're buying and selling, that allows us to have increased property-related revenue that comes into us at a higher rate than the Prop 13 standard increase of 2%. And so the less transactions we're having, the less growth that we're able to have. So although we're not anticipating declines necessarily in property tax, we are anticipating slight slowdowns. Fortunately, and I'll just jump into, not the next slide. Fortunately, we've seen roughly, over the last several years, almost 9% property tax growth for us as a county. This year, we saw a slight slowdown, is 7% that we're estimating for the year. And what you'll see coming up is we tend to be pretty prudent and conservative in our approach to estimating those revenues going into the future. Luther mentioned federal funding uncertainty. And so it's uncertainty. It's not that I know anything necessarily really bad is going to happen, but I did want to provide just some context as far as the percentage share of our overall budget that the federal government is providing revenues to our county of. So we've got a $10.2 billion current budget in 2024-25. Let me just jump in real quickly. I wanted to highlight of that, the general fund is actually not that large of a share of our overall revenue sources. It represents about 11 to 12% of our overall revenue sources at a little bit over $1 billion. Compare that to our federal and state funding. it's actually quite a bit less. And so we receive almost 29% of our revenue sources to provide support for our human service departments, for our public safety departments, through the federal and state government. The state government actually receives a large share of federal funding as well that they use as pass-through funding. So it's a pretty big chunk of our overall budget. Further, if you hone in a little bit more, federal funding, it makes up about $1 billion of the county's overall budget. And so in comparison, it's roughly the size of the general fund that our federal government is passing through funds for us to provide services that we have. Just wanted to provide that for some context. Again, we don't know, so we just pay attention. We make decisions based off of what we do know, not what we don't know. And so we're just paying a lot of attention to what's going on at the federal level. So as it relates to the budget for the upcoming year, I first want to hone in on that blue box that we like to highlight because it's indicative of our overall and the board's overall fiscal prudence on how we approach things with the budget. We are up to $74 million ongoing in general fund that has, when I say ongoing, set aside every single year, that's been set aside, I say for economic uncertainty, but it is not just ongoing money just going towards building reserves. In actuality, it's money that the board has set aside for specific things that we're able to do a lot of cool stuff for county residents, but we can, if there's a recession, we can actually look to reduce those things prior to looking at programs to cutting. And so what I mean by that is we've set aside $40 million for building acquisitions and buildings replacements with our county. As you guys know, there has actually been a lot of buildings within the county as a whole. We have a lot of capital projects that are needing to be done, many dilapidated buildings that we want to get our folks into better buildings. So the board has been prudent in setting aside a lot of ongoing money that we can accumulate resources over time that when we have to replace these buildings, we have the money to do it. But at the same time, in the event of a recession, we have $40 million ongoing that we can then go to if we need to potentially reduce that ongoing reserve as opposed to hitting programs. And so that $74 million represents a lot of several different reserves that are kind of similar to that, that we're just basically excited that the board took a lot of great actions when we were seeing excess revenues to kind of do a lot of prudent things. As it relates to kind of our overarching approach to the 5-year forecast, which we're going to be going over with you in May, just wanted to give you some highlights. As I previously mentioned, we are conservative in our approach to modeling out our property tax growth. So we're only looking to program 3% ongoing or annual increases in property tax growth over the next 5 years. That is compared to an annualized growth over the last 10 years of 6.7. So obviously that is conservative, but as I mentioned, we are foreseeing a bit of a slowdown. What we do with that is, although we don't program in necessarily more than 3% next year, if our revenues do come in higher than that, we do program those monies in. So as for an example, we had 7% growth that we're planning to receive this year compared to 4% that we actually budgeted. Next year, we're talking about increasing the amount of property-related revenue on an ongoing basis tied to that 7% growth, and we'll just build that in going into the future. As I mentioned, sales tax, we've begun to slow down. We had quite a lot of growth in 22-23 and 23-24 of $50 million ongoing in programs for a lot of our public safety departments. Similar to last year where we did not build any new program growth tied to Prop 172, we're not planning to in the upcoming year. Luther mentioned recruitment for us as a county, and we like to capitalize on just our fiscal prudence. And so in our 5-year forecast, you're going to see when we go over in May, over $200 million in ongoing general funds that is set aside to go towards employee costs, specifically to be available as we negotiate MOUs, as well as we have current MOUs where we have various across the boards and raises that are built in for our employees. We want to stay competitive in times where there might be uncertainty in other entities. That allows us to recruit heavily for us as a county. I always love to talk about retirement costs. Unfortunately, from about 2008 through last year, we've always had to talk about retirement costs increasing for our county. That's largely due to the recession in 2008 and also some pension obligation bonds that we had that really have increased the cost for retirement for county employees. What we are seeing is over the next 5 years, continued declines that is creating some savings for us, about $31 million estimated ongoing savings for us in retirement costs. And that's largely due to the prudence of our retirement board and the way by which we approach our pensions, to where we pay off what's called unfunded liabilities over a relatively shorter period of time. And so we're going to be able to see some declines in those costs over the next several years, which is great. And then lastly, I should just mention, though, that the pension system as a whole is tied to market growth, so investment growth. They invest a lot of the resources that we have. As you may have seen, if you look at the S&P 500 or the Dow Jones, there's been pretty large decreases over the last month or so. Our pension system is not just invested in the S&P 500, so it's not impacted the same way when the market goes down precipitously. It does not go down at the same rate. It doesn't mean it's immune to market forces, though, so we're really kind of looking at that. The goal every single year for our pension system is to hit what's called 7.25% in earnings. If it doesn't, that does result in increased costs to our retirement costs as a county, and so that's something that we are just obviously focused on as well. And lastly, the board last year set aside in the future, in our 5-year forecast, $9.3 million of ongoing funding in the event that there were increased needs for our jail population. That was largely tied to the conversation that was going on at that time around Prop 36, which was looking to amend Prop 47, which is tied to certain crimes and the way we punish crimes, not just within the county, but within the state as a whole. Proposition 36 did pass in November, and so that's a thing that increased sentences for certain theft-related crimes and drug-related crimes that we think potentially could impact our jail population. And so we continue to have that in our forecast. We're going to need to be working with the sheriffs over the next, obviously, several months, but even over the next, probably even several years, to kind of discuss what that impact may be to our jail population. Is there any questions?
Supervisor Cook.
There's a character on TV, the books, and everything. His name is Harry Bosch. And if you've been watching this series the last few weeks or so, it's Harry Bosch talking about some of the crimes going on with, have you seen it? The budget and preparing the budget? Are you working for that network? Because it's like the same crap that I'm hearing on TV. No, pardon the expression. But, I am not a budgeteer, but it's almost word for word. And absolutely fascinating. But by the way, be careful, because there's a couple of people that are in your business that get killed because their numbers came out the wrong way.
All right, well, let's hope I'm not. Am I all right?
Did you see it?
Luther, I'm okay? All right, good.
Anyway, I appreciate everything. I'm a history major, so I understood about 1.3.6 of what you said, but a lot of work goes into this. And one of the things that if you get it wrong, everyone's jump all over you. But if you get it right, everybody says, God, we got to give him another raise. And but
Matthew's waiting for that to happen.
what was that?
Matthew's waiting for us to tell him we're going to give him another raise.
No, I said, don't put words in my mouth yet. But all I'm saying, I know that a lot of work goes into this, the numbers and everything else. And when you get the numbers right, you're a hero. And when you get them wrong, you're gonna, you know how it is. So I just wanted to think, it's very, very complicated. I've been involved in this and other instances and what have a lot of work, and and perhaps an even harder job is to translate some of the things you're saying to a dummy like me that, I am the proverbial dumb Marine. And so to do what you do on everything like that and put it into some other language, I know it's a lot of work, and I want to thank you.
I appreciate that. I just did want to mention I have a lot of staff, and I am not the smartest guy in the world as well, and they have to dummy it down for me, and so that's what ends up happening so that I can explain it better. So I just appreciate all the staff that helped me to get this all ready.
Thank you, Madam Chair. First of all, congratulations. I mean, I think over the last decade or even longer than that shows that San Bernardino County does take the long approach.
Yeah.
And I see so many other local government entities, whether that be cities, school boards, whatever, that spend every cent they got on the good years, and all of a sudden when it slows down or reclines, they have nothing in reserve. And that's something this board's been very consistent with. The policy is being a very fiscal conservative steward of the taxpayers' dollars going forward. And there is so many other variables going in. When interest rates go higher, those homes do go up, but there's so many less that get reassessed. And we've seen it a lot with our local cities too. And a lot of my local cities have gone to CFDs or other property tax segments for particular things, public safety, infrastructure, rehabilitation and all. And it's a wide range within our county alone, much less other parts of the state. Not saying I'm in favor of that, but I think it's something to put on the horizon for the corporate areas. Do we look at things like that as things going up? Again, it's hard to even look at that, but for those newer areas of my cities, that's consistently they're doing that for all the new development growth to combat that. Because what's really going on in the bigger world, as sales tax is getting more and more online, they're not seeing that set of monies coming into the local governments as they used to be, because it's becoming globalized, of which we were some of that benefactor during the COVID area. But as you see, those will continue to trend down. So how do we maintain that? So interest rates are a big part of it, but your fiscal planning or being conservative on that is really what's giving us the stability that we need to do to continue on with the services, because we've seen that. I came in at the very beginning of a decline and before it came back up, where we did have to cut positions and cut services. We're also very reliant on the federal programs. We're seeing that across the board in multiple boards I sit on. We don't know what those funding streams are going to be. Those are passed through, and I think we need to be very transparent with that as changes come, if changes come to our residents. I know in IEHP we're looking at big swings, depending on what the federal government does and what they pay, what they don't pay, what classifications of people receive benefits anymore. So it's really out of our hands, but we have to be nimble when those policies come through. So I appreciate you and your team staying on top of those things going on. I think locally we're still looking at growth in property. We're looking at growth in population. Those are all positive signs for San Bernardino County. We see a lot of growth even taking place with some of the large infrastructure projects like Brightline and others going to the high desert that will attract investment in the high desert as well. So I think there's a lot of opportunities, but a lot of uncertainties, like you said. So it's a perfect title for your presentation today. But just my personal thanks to you and your team for being that fiscal hawks and being conservative on the projections. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
I think you may have a couple more slides if you finish up, and then we can go back to a broader discussion.
Absolutely. Yeah,
Okay,
just
thank
a
you.
couple more slides.
Thanks.
So we've actually gone over much of this. We wanted to talk a little bit about risks, but we've already done a lot. So, we've talked about federal funding uncertainty as a potential risk. Recession, stagflation is a conversation that's going on at the broader economy. State budget, interestingly, is not as much of a topic this year. So you might remember that state budget last year was a huge topic. We were talking about billions of dollars of shortfall at the state budget that really didn't come to fruition the same way we anticipated. And so that's a thing where it's just a good indicator that risks are exactly that. They're risks. It's not that we know for certain that they're going to be a problem, and we just like to be prepared. Disasters and emergencies, we are a county that has a multitude of disasters and emergencies. We are an amazing entity as far as how we approach those disasters. Funding is an interesting thing. We watched the fire, in Orange County, they had a fire that impacted their county. In LA, it's impacting their county from a financial perspective. And so, of course, that's something we look to in our county as well as a potential liability. And lastly, I have this one for...
Go ahead.
All right, I'll just keep on going. So we did want to go over just next steps for you. As Luther mentioned, this was the budget kickoff, just a broad overview of what we're seeing for the upcoming year. But May 6th will be our budget workshop. What that really represents is I plan to go over our in more detail, our 5-year forecast with you. That's what we use for planning purposes, and to really decide about approximately how much money we have on an ongoing basis to set aside for new programs for the upcoming year. With that, Luther usually goes over some of the programmatic needs that we have and what we're planning to do for the upcoming budget. Then on May 20th, we're planning to have the budget book delivered to you. This will be all of the detail of the budget with all of the departmental budgets that's delivered 3 weeks prior to the budget hearing and adoption, which is planned for June 10th. And I do think that is it.
Thank
So,
you very
questions?
much. Vice Chair.
Yeah, thank you, Madam Chair. No, Matt, I appreciate your presentation. Really want to thank you and your team for really continuing to make our county fiscally solvent. One of the things I appreciate is during the good times, one of the things this county has been able to do is we've been able to address a lot of deferred maintenance, which hadn't been addressed for many, many years, and make significant investments. Also, I think we've been able to put money away in the event that we did have an emergency. So I think we're in good shape financially, especially in light of, surrounding cities, counties, and how they're doing financially, and just having conversations with Luther and hearing some of the challenges financially that other counties throughout the state are having. So we're one of 58, but I think we're prepared to address any challenges we may have. We don't know about the outlook. We hope the state and federal government continue to try to give us everything we need. We know that we provide a lot of social services here, and that's a big part of what we do here in the County of San Bernardino. Based on your presentation, it's approximately 30% of our budget. So we want to continue to provide those services as best we can. But also, I appreciate the team really preparing in the event that we do not have the same amount of money that we have. So just a great presentation, great outlook, and just want to thank you and your team for the great work.
Oh, thanks so much.
I don't want to belabor it. It is fantastic. It's a lot of work. And I know you and I sit as trustees on the SB Sarah side, and there's just an awful lot of stress to make sure that we're meeting our rate of return over there to then, to have the uncertainty over here.
Absolutely.
It's a lot. So thank you very much for everything that you and all the various departments are doing to keep a conservative budget. And I've heard pretty much all of us say that we recognize that it's time to probably tighten things up a little bit and to be more conservative in our approach. So I appreciate that.
Great. Appreciate it.
Right. We have one request to speak from the public on this item. Lorraine Enriquez.
Hello, and thank you for that presentation. Like everyone says, it's a lot of work. I just want to talk about a few things that I feel like I'd like to see in the budget. To invest in fair and habitable housing, especially in the areas near public transit and high-quality job centers and schools. Prioritize, oh, I lost my thing, hold on. I know I'm using my 3 minutes. Sorry about that. Prioritize permanent supportive housing as the most humane and cost-effective approach to ending homelessness in our county. Increase oversight and accountability of temporary shelters that have been ineffective and unsafe in transitioning people into permanent supportive housing. Invest in a rainy day fund in our social safety net programs that deliver essential services and resources to the most vulnerable in our county. Prioritize funds towards comprehensive care, public health, violence intervention, and prevention programs and services over incarceration and deportation. Increase oversight and accountability of our high number of in-custody preventable deaths in our county jails. So I'd like to see all that in the budget. Thank you.
Thank you very much. That is the last request to speak that I have. This is a receive and file item, so thank you very much. We'll look forward to the rest of the process. All right, with that, we will move on to our public comment on items not on today's agenda. We have quite a few speakers today. Your time limit will be 2 minutes for items not on today's agenda. We have 2 speaker podiums up in the top, one on this side and one on that side. When the light flashes yellow, you will have 30 seconds left, and then red, it's the end of your time. Our first request to speak this morning is Russell Jareggi, followed by Garth Pazant.
Good morning to members of the, Madam Chairman of the board, members of the board. My name is Russell Howdegi, and I am a resident of Ontario, California. I also work for the San Bernardino Community Service Center, which provides free legal services to immigrants of San Bernardino County and throughout the Inland Empire. Our offices are just right down the street. We've been there for over 20 years. We assist families to keep them together. We assist people who are fleeing persecution, and we put unaccompanied minors in the path to permanent residency and citizenship. We are here today to call on the County Board of Supervisors to draft and eventually adopt a resolution that affirms San Bernardino's commitment to ensure that it is a safe and welcoming place for immigrants, many of whom call this home. The numbers, there was just a discussion of the numbers, so let me just bring some numbers to you regarding this discussion. Here in the San Bernardino County, the majority of undocumented folks have U.S. citizen children, wives, and they also have family members who are permanent residents. So more than 50% of the undocumented folks here in San Bernardino County have U.S. citizen family members. The jobs they work in are in construction, hotels, manufacturing, and of course warehousing. They earn over 200% of the poverty guideline, and 30% are homeowners. So what these numbers show is that the undocumented community of San Bernardino County is part and parcel. They are a fabric, and they are part of this community. Their kids are in school, they're working here, and they're contributing, and they're contributing to the local economy. So I think it's only fair that the county, since they are making these contributions to
That's
the
time.
Our next speaker is Garth Pazant, who will be followed by Jane Hunt-Rubel.
Two minutes. To all criminal defendants, if you are unjustly tried in court, it is termed malicious prosecution. The form you need before you take it to your civil rights attorney is called California Forms of Pleading and Practice, annotated Section 357.190. You may get compensated coupled with punitive damages. The whole template is spelled out. All you need is names of the prosecutors, such as and not limited to the state district attorney, the complainant, and your criminal defense attorney, in which you will sue in for ineffective assistance of counsel. This form includes your allegations and case law, false imprisonment, probable cause, and malice. You may use this form during trial and after criminal dismissal and or after false conviction. To Margaret Cashin of Apple Valley and the rest of youth peoples, let us rob our local taxpayers to capture animals and cats. Let us deprive them of their natural procreative abilities and house them in cages disguised as animal shelters for our pleasure. We must not set animals and cats free to roam the forest in their natural habitat. If we are not exquisitely satisfied, we must then sue our county for more money to graduate to house Godzilla himself. Whom is it that can stop us? To all citizens of the United States of America, if the sheriff does not respond in a timely manner to any hostile immigrant invasion of your property, pull out your strap.
Jane Hunt-Rubel, who will be followed by Eddie Torres.
Good morning. I'm not feeling very well because I ate a small breakfast and I didn't realize. Anyway, I've only got 2 minutes. So anyway, I'm here to talk about the usual thing about the trucks going through San Bernardino and our community. And we discussed it at our last CSC meeting last Wednesday night. And a lot of people, I was complaining all the time about the truck traffic, and it's getting dangerous in San Bernardino City too now. They're going down Mount Vernon Avenue. And so I got to go to the city about that too. but the group I'm in, the CSC, we were talking about that, and we're going to have somebody from San Bernardino City attend our next meeting and talk about it because it's getting ridiculous, the traffic. But I also want to read an article, well, not the whole article, about reimagining legal reform in the wake of the wildfires by Jay Obernolte. And basically, he's saying that in light of he's blaming all this on environmentalists and CEQA. But I was saying, well, a lot of the wildfires, I was all for legal slow burns, you know, before fires happen. But he seems to admit that it's all about us people in CEQA, and he wants to reform it. Basically, I feel like I'm going to have a talk with him because basically what I've been talking, CEQA is under attack by both Democrats and Republicans in office for blaming us for everything, for stopping growth. But no, they go ahead and...
That's time.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you very much. Eddie Torres, followed by Wilfredo Aguirre.
Hi, good morning, County Board of Supervisors. My name is Eddie Torres. I am the Policy Director with the Inland Coalition for American Justice. We were really proud in January to support the San Bernardino Unified School District resolution for a safe and welcoming environment for all children, for all of their students, regardless of their immigration status. We were really proud to pass Riverside County's resolution with a similar vein, and we hope and we demand that the County Board of San Bernardino do what's right and take those steps accordingly to protect the undocumented population, which is 500,000, roughly estimate, of folks that live here in this beautiful county. They do much more than produce and work at warehouses and construction. They are our parents, they are our children, they are our neighbors, and they deserve to know that their county is providing all the resources that they can to provide a safe and welcoming environment, right? About 76 million I saw from the budget report is ongoing for reserves, right? That's great, that's fiscal responsibility. If we could use some of that funding to provide the legal resources here, it would go a long way. We already do so much with the very minimal resources that we have. In the whole Inland Empire, there are about 10 service providers, legal service providers. Only a handful of those actually do work in legal deportation proceedings. Only a handful of us, and a couple of them are here in this room. We are at capacity already. We need more resources. We need the county to be on board and work with us, not oppose us. And there are many ways that we can do this, right? Riverside County's taking those steps. San Bernardino can take it even that much further because this is a vibrant community that has a long history of supporting immigrants. And we need to take it further because the situation is different now. It's not 2018. In 2018, San Bernardino County had the highest ICE arrests in the whole country. In 2018. In 2025, things could be much, much starker because they're arresting folks that have no criminal background whatsoever, right? They're picking up people and taking them to El Salvador, to Guantanamo Bay. Things are much more urgent, and we need your support.
Thank you very much. Wilfredo Aguirre, followed by Gabriela Perez. Wilfredo Aguirre. All right, we'll go on to Gabriela Perez. Gabriela Perez? Lisbeth Albin? Is she coming back? No? Okay. Yadira Alvarado. And the next one after that is Hector Perea.
Good morning. My name is Yadira. I'm a proud resident of the IE and a representative of ICIJ and IEIYC, which serves immigrant families across our region. I am here today to call on the Board of Supervisors to begin drafting and eventually adopting a resolution that affirms San Bernardino County's commitment to ensuring it's a safe and welcoming place for all immigrant communities who call this county home. Last month, Riverside County passed a similar resolution affirming the county as a safe and welcoming place for all immigrants. However, San Bernardino County of Supervisors has not made a commitment to protecting the rights of its immigrant communities. Considering that San Bernardino thrives because of the hard work and contribution of its diverse immigrant communities, drafting and passing a resolution is not just about policy, it is about upholding the values of dignity, fairness, and inclusion. We urge the board to begin creating a resolution and affirming its position to stand and protect the immigrant families, workers, and community members of this county. Public safety, protection, well-being, and moral responsibility are humans' rights that should not be up for debate. We are students, sisters, brothers, parents, doctors, teachers. We hold spaces across the county, and safety and protection should not be up for debate. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Hector Perea, followed by Alma Trejo.
Good afternoon, board members. I'm here with the Inland Coalition for Immigrant Justice, a coalition of over 35 community organizations that work to improve the lives of the over 1 million immigrants in Riverside and San Bernardino County. I too am here today to urge the board to begin to draft and eventually adopt a resolution to affirm their commitment to protect immigrants and ensuring San Bernardino County is a safe space for all. Immigrants today are facing significant threats from the agenda of cruelty of this increasingly hostile federal government. As I was walking in this morning, actually, I saw the quotes that the county likes to show off, and one came of Martin Luther King, saying that the true measure of a person is not where they stand in moments of comfort and convenience, but where they stand in moments of controversy and challenge. And this is a moment of controversy and challenge. So far, this board has not stood up to do the right thing, so I hope that they will, to protect the thousands of immigrants that live in San Bernardino County, most of which live in mixed status households, all of which are significant contributors to our society and our economy. Thank you.
Thank you. Alma Trejo, followed by Kimberly Hernandez.
Happy morning, Board of Supervisors for San Bernardino. My name is Alma Trejo. I'm here with the Inland Empire Immigrant Youth Collective. We are an organization that works with youth both in Riverside and San Bernardino County, ages 16 to 24. We provide professional development, spaces to build community and feel safe, and to actually find their own voice. We support them in finding the resources and opportunities for them to fulfill their academic and professional goals. And I am here to urge you to, like many of the folks who have come previously, spoken previously, to start drafting a resolution to protect the rights of these students. We have been hearing from students and their parents that they're afraid to take advantage of the rightful access to public education because they're afraid that they're going to be outed or they're going to be tagged as undocumented. And so we are seeing a lot of our youth not come out to take advantage of resources. Their parents are afraid to come to school. And so I think it would be a wonderful opportunity for you all to really defend the rights of these students in your county. I was a student. I've lived in Montclair for the past 26 years, and let me tell you, we invest in our community. We are students, we are teachers, and we are organizers, and we want to stay in this county to invest in it so that we continue to grow. So we need to change that narrative that immigrants are here to take. We're here to actually provide good our labor, our love, and our dedication to this county. So I really urge you to start drafting that so that our students and the teachers and their parents can have the opportunity to have an equal access to public education. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Kimberly Hernandez, followed by Marlene Chavez.
Good morning, San Bernardino County Board of Supervisors. My name is Kimberly Hernandez. I am a resident of San Bernardino County, and I'm here with the Inland Empire Immigrant Youth Collective. Like Alma said, we are here to support our students and our families that are immigrants, and we are hoping that we can start drafting and eventually adopting a resolution that affirms San Bernardino County's commitment to ensuring a safe and welcoming place for immigrant communities. We can do this by providing funding for a justice fund that helps legal representation for immigrants, to provide that legal representation for immigrants, and collaborate with community-based organizations to ensure that immigrants continue to feel safe in this county. Supervisor Joe Baca, I have seen your commitment to the community. I have been to several events where you have been, including school events at Musco Elementary. I believe we can continue to make students feel safe and family members feel safe if we adopt the resolution. Like I said, this is a public safety and a well-being thing that we can do for our community members here. We have talked about community the whole day today, and I think the best way to continue to keep this community here in San Bernardino County is to support our immigrants. So again, Board of Supervisors, we hope that you invest in a future where every resident, regardless of their immigration status or where they were born, can contribute and thrive in this community. We urge the board to begin creating a resolution and stand with the families. Thank you.
Thank you. Marlene Chavez, followed by Benjamin Wood.
Good afternoon. My name is Marlene, and I'm with the Inland Empire Immigrant Youth Collective, and I also work with immigrant youth across San Bernardino County. And I'm here to support or call on the Board of Supervisors to begin drafting and eventually adopting a resolution that will affirm San Bernardino's commitment to ensure a safe and welcoming place for the immigrant communities who call this county home. So we need you to commit to protecting the rights of immigrant communities. San Bernardino County can set itself in its leadership and commitment to the well-being of its residents, regardless of their immigration status. Immigrant communities will feel much safer knowing that their leaders and their authorities are supporting them, and parents can also feel secure when they're taking their children to school. We urge the board to begin creating a resolution and stand with the families and community members who make San Bernardino County what it is today.
Thank you. Benjamin Wood, followed by Cassandra Solis.
Good morning, Madam Chair, supervisors, county staff, and beloved community. My name is Benjamin Wood, and I'm the legal director at the Inland Coalition for Immigrant Justice. I grew up in Ontario, and I've been living in Montclair for the past 15 years, and I work out of ICIJ's offices in both San Bernardino and in Victorville. Just this past November, our organization received recognition from the Department of Justice's Office of Legal Access Programs, authorizing us to provide low-cost or no-cost immigration and legal services to the indigent, low-income, and detained members of our immigrant community. While we're very proud of this accomplishment, it did not take long for us to reach capacity. Every day, we receive panicked calls from family members who have breadwinners who have been detained and are being held in adelanto, from parents who are seeking some solution, any solution to their immigration situation, and from young people who are wondering if DACA was going to be opened back up. In moments of crisis like this, we look to our leaders, to our supervisors, we look to you, and unfortunately, we've heard nothing but silence. Our immigrant community, which there's 127,000 undocumented residents of San Bernardino County, we come from many different countries, but what we have in common is that we choose to live here in San Bernardino County, to work here, to raise our families here. And the climate in this country is one that has gripped our families with fear. We need you. We need your voice. We need your leadership. Please show the immigrant community some support, pass a resolution, create a justice fund that allows immigrants equal access to due process. Protect immigrant communities now.
Thank you. Cassandra Solis, followed by Natalie Saka.
Good afternoon, San Bernardino Board of Supervisors. My name is Cassandra Solis. I'm the Advocacy Program Manager with San Bernardino Community Service Center, a nonprofit organization specialized in application assistance, legal representation, and educational information in immigration matters to low-income families in the Inland Empire. I am here today to urge you to begin drafting a resolution that reaffirms our county's commitments to being a safe, welcoming, and inclusive community for immigrants. It is essential that we send a clear message that everyone is welcome here. Immigrants contribute so much to the fabric of our community. Whether they are workers, students, or community leaders, they are essential members of our society. In these challenging times, our community needs our support more than ever. Across the country, there are growing concerns and increased hostility towards immigrant populations. We are seeing heightened rhetoric and policies that threaten the well-being of many families, making it more crucial than ever that we step forward as a county that supports its residents regardless of their immigration status. Riverside County has already taken this step by passing a similar resolution to affirm its commitment to immigrant communities. It is a testament to the fact that such measures are not only possible, but necessary. I urge you to take this important step today. Let your community, both present and future, Know that San Bernardino County is a place that welcomes all who seek a better life, a place where diversity is celebrated, and a place where everyone can feel secured and valued. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Natalie Saka, followed by Edgar Ortiz.
Good afternoon. My name is Natalia Saka, and I am the Regional Policy Advocate for the Coalition for Humane Immigrant Rights, also known as CHIRLA. And I am a proud resident of San Bernardino County for 25 years. Our office is based in San Bernardino City, serving the entire Inland Empire. We are dedicated to supporting the rights and well-being of immigrant communities, and I am here to urge you to take action in protecting and supporting our immigrant community in San Bernardino County. With 21.4% of our county's population being foreign-born, immigrants are a vital part of our economy, workforce, and communities, yet they continue to face challenges such as limited access to resources, fear of deportation, and exclusion from essential services. CHIRLA is here to assist in drafting a policy or measure that ensures San Bernardino County is a safe and welcoming place for all, regardless of immigration status. This can include expanding legal aid, ensuring county programs are accessible, and preventing harmful collaboration with ICE. Now, more than ever, we need you to lead in this moment on behalf of all San Bernardino County residents to ensure that all of us, including our neighbors, work colleagues, and parents in schools, feel safe and supported. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Edgar Ortiz, followed by Brian Sanchez.
Good afternoon, honorable supervisors. Thank you for the opportunity to provide public comment today. My name is Edgar Ortiz. I'm with the California Immigrant Policy Center. We work across the state to advance policies that increase inclusion, dignity, and justice for immigrant communities, regardless of status. We are here in support of the San Bernardino immigrant community and call on the Board of Supervisors to pass and implement a resolution that signals its commitment to providing justice and safety for all individuals, regardless of status. Just some things that you may already know, but San Bernardino County is home to one of the largest and most diverse immigrant communities in the country. Undocumented immigrants alone contribute hundreds of millions of dollars in state and local taxes every year and wield $2 billion in spending power that they use every day to reinvest in the county's businesses and services. As we speak, there are hundreds of thousands of children, workers, students, and all individuals from all walks of life who are working every day to carve out a better life for themselves and their loved ones, and also working to make San Bernardino County better. They love their communities, they love their churches, they love their local small businesses, they love their neighbors, their teachers, and all they're asking for is to be able to live in peace and be able to live with the knowledge that the county has their back and is doing everything in its power to support them. For these reasons, we are calling on the county to pass a resolution that would provide strengths and protections and ensure that they can continue to live as any other residents of San Bernardino County has, with access to important public services, to be able to support themselves and their loved ones, and protections from immigration enforcement actions that are unfortunately targeting all of our communities, regardless of status, race, ethnicity, etc. This is a critical time where people are really looking for hope, and we ask you to provide that hope and really be there for your constituents and your neighbors. Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much. Brian Sanchez, followed by Julio Marroquin.
Hi, good afternoon, Board of Supervisors. My name is Brian Sanchez. I'm an organizer with the Inland Coalition for Immigrant Justice. I'm joined today by several of our partners, many of whom you've heard from today. On behalf of the thousands of immigrants and their families who we serve every day, I'm here today to call on the San Bernardino County Board of Supervisors to begin to do right by the thousands of immigrants who call this county home, to begin drafting and eventually adopting a resolution that affirms San Bernardino County's commitment to ensuring that this is a safe and welcoming environment for its immigrant residents. This county thrives because of the hard work, entrepreneurship, and diversity of its immigrant communities. However, this board has not yet made a commitment to protecting the rights and dignity of its immigrant communities, even though they make up a significant portion of the population. This resolution is not without precedent either. Just last month, Riverside County passed a similar resolution. Moreno Valley City Council voted to support that resolution, and Moreno Valley Unified School District voted to pass its own pro-immigrant resolution as well. In fact, this January, San Bernardino City Unified School District passed its own resolution affirming that its commitment to its immigrant students and their families. Let me say that again. The school board of this county's namesake city recognized the necessity of this resolution for the well-being of its students and families. I believe that this county and the Board of Supervisors are not one to fall behind on leadership and believe that they can set themselves apart by not only drafting a resolution, but also to begin including additional provisions for the creation of a justice fund so that immigrants may have access to legal services and working with local organizations when it comes to drafting such a resolution. This resolution will contribute to the safety and well-being of those that reside within our county. I believe that this board will do right by them. I ask that they please begin drafting such a resolution. Thank you.
Thank you. Julio Marroquin, followed by Terry Lewis.
Good afternoon. Thank you for the opportunity to listen the immigrant community. I was given the opportunity to become a U.S. citizen by a Republican President, Reagan. We used that opportunity to adjust to this country. I have two children that are U.S. citizens, and they had the opportunity to go to the university. So in sometimes, we, the immigrant community, the only thing that we need is just one opportunity. So what we are asking the Board of Supervisors of San Bernardino is to give us just that little opportunity so that our community in San Bernardino can have the resources to become U.S. citizens, to have the opportunity to have the family stay here in the United States. We have been helping hundreds of families in the Inland Empire to become U.S. citizens. If you take a look, who is working in the field, who's working in the construction, who's working in the schools, we have 22% of the population in this country that is coming recently from mostly Latin America. So please do what is just for our community. We are paying taxes and we deserve to be listened. So please pass a good resolution for us. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Terry Lewis, followed by Karen Reich.
Hello. My name is Terry Lewis, and I came today again to speak about CPS and their procedures and lack of accountability. There's 3 conditions that need to be met for CPS to remove children from a home: imminent danger, an unsafe environment, evidence of child abuse, and on their detention, when they remove them, there's either serious danger, consent, or a court order. In our situation, none of those conditions were met. A serious mistake was made, but instead of them admitting it, because it was a different, not your normal situation. My sister was at my house visiting. Anyway, long story short, they came and spoke to my sister at my home, saw the children there. They're happy, wonderful toddlers. This wasn't even in their own home environment. And based upon the home environment where the children were not living, they removed them from my sister's care. And it's just, a mistake was made, but now, you know what they tell us when we go to the meetings? They say, well, we're starting from here. It doesn't matter how we got here. Well, it sure does. It absolutely does. When people lie in their reports and there's no accountability, you can file a police report for perjury. You can, say things till you're blue in the face and people just stare at you and don't do anything. Nothing has been done. Our kids have been gone almost 10 months now for no reason. And we want them to come home. And I don't understand this. This is America, supposedly, and I don't see how this is even happening. And I just wanted to say I've been listening to everybody also on the.
That's time.
Thank you for your comments. Our next speaker is Karen Reich, followed by our last speaker, Margaret Cashin.
Hello, my name is Karen Reich. I'm the grandmother, excuse me, of the children that were taken from on June 5th, 2024. I'm here petitioning the board to please, do something. I want Trump or J.D. Vance. J.D. Vance was raised by his grandmother. They weren't perfect. They weren't from a perfect family, but they made it work. I could hang myself off the freeway overpass and stop traffic from the high desert to Los Angeles to gain attention to this crisis, to my grandchildren being removed for no reason. My dad was in the armed services. He was a United States Air Force major. For 23 years, he had top secret clearance. He was a part of a team who had to agree to release nuclear weapons. He retired from there. He retired from being a parole agent. We're not one of those families that needed their kids removed. It was uncalled for, it was unnecessary, and they don't want to admit their mistake. The kids were in my care. They had been in my care for a month, and there was no reason. They weren't in danger. They weren't neglected. They weren't abused. They weren't starved, molested, raped. None of the conditions that they put them in foster care, or possibly put them in, when they put them in foster care, they put them in that danger. This is unacceptable. I want my grandkids returned to me immediately. They want to start from here. They don't want to acknowledge how we got here. Well, how we got here is very important. I'm petitioning you for help. It starts with you, each and every one of you. I talked to Janie Zepeda. I talked to Mia Moore. I talked to Jamie Richter. I've talked to Charles Flowers. I've talked to Renee Duval. I've talked to Alyssa Hernandez. I've talked to Mia Moore. I've talked to Gina Navarro. All of them.
That's time.
Margaret Cashin, followed by Jeffrey Umana.
Good afternoon. Here to advocate for a better animal welfare and to pitch for policy change within the county. Just clarifying what I said on item 43, Devore has a vet, Dr. Rex, that visits 3 days a week. They have a vet for a mobile clinic. Unsure if the mobile clinic is up and running yet. A full-time vet is not on site. That's what I wanted to make sure you understood. Switching topics, there is a disconnect between what the county is doing and what individual cities and towns within the county are doing. San Bernardino County offers free spay and neuter to residents in the unincorporated parts of the county. However, many individual towns and cities are not creating their own TNVR, which is trap, neuter, vaccinate, and release programs, nor are they offering low-cost to no-cost spay and neuter services for residents. We will not tackle this silent endemic without every town and city being on board and participating. I need the Board of Supervisors' help with this. If Devore accepts cats and dogs from Highland and Bloomington, and City of San Bernardino accepts cats and dogs from Fontana, Rialto, and other cities, can the county say, in return for accepting animals, you must implement free spay and neuter and TNVR programs for residents? Otherwise, all we are doing is shuffling animals around and never really tackling overpopulation issues. On a different note, is it totally unreasonable to ask whether the county would move $500,000 out of the budget allotted for the construction of the Bloomington shelter towards increasing funding for TNVR programs and free spay and neuter for unincorporated residents? This will make a bigger impact in the long run. Lastly, we appreciate weekly transfers of animals from AVAS Apple Valley to Devore. We hope this can continue since Devore has better practices in place. Thank you.
Thank you. Jeffrey Umana, followed by Anna Bosch.
Good morning, Board of Supervisors. My name is Jeffrey Umana Munoz. I am a resident of San Bernardino, California, where I have lived with my family for over 20 years. San Bernardino is where my family and I plan to continue to work, live, and thrive for the rest of our lives. I'm here with the Inland Empire Immigrant Youth Collective to urge you all to begin drafting and formally adopt a resolution in support of our immigrant communities, including to take tangible funded steps to support immigrant defense and resources in the county. It's also important that we ensure that county resources are made accessible and that data from county residents who access those services remains protected. It is important that this board step up and really listen to our immigrants, communities. We contribute to this county each and every day. This is our home, this is our livelihood, and all we are looking for is for partners like the many organizations who are here today to work with the Board of Supervisors. We are here to provide you the resources to make sure that you all can move forward on these policies. We want to continue to thrive in this county. We want to continue to contribute to our cities, to our schools, to our families, and we can only do that with your partnership. We will continue to show up and be here each and every day in each of your offices, wherever possible, to ensure that our immigrant residents are receiving the support and the solidarity that they deserve. This is my home, and I'm asking for your support to ensure that it remains my home. I can't keep looking into the eyes of my parents and my young sister every morning as they cry, as we think about whether or not we have someone in our corner fighting for us as well. I urge you to take immediate action. Thank you.
Thank you. Our last request to speak is from Anna Bosch, and I apologize if I'm mispronouncing your last name.
Hello. I thank you, the board, for the opportunity to speak here. Unlike many of the community members here, I'm a legal immigrant. I wear many hats. I have a funny fact to share. I was able to renew my non-USA passport by communicating with a third world war country with an encrypted system, chat system. I work here. I am an IT architect. I couldn't go to India to renew my passport. I was able to renew my passport by communicating with a third world war country with their law enforcement, verifying my nationality with the country. But I was unsuccessful in trying to schedule a meeting here with District 2 and 4 supervisors. For many, many months, we've been trying to schedule a meeting. So we need help. This is not an immigrant issue. This is completely separate issue. I submitted the issues via public comments, and we need help. And I'm going to wait after the meeting for somebody to come and meet me. Thank you.
Thank you very much. That's the last request to speak that we have. Our meeting is adjourned. Our next regularly scheduled Board of Supervisors meeting will be here in Chambers on April 8th at 10 a.m. Thank you.